with zero down on approved credit. Save big with low interest finance rates, and Folsom Lake Ford always pays top dollar for your trade. Check out the huge selection of inventory online at FolsomLakeFord.com or stop by the dealership to see their most recent arrivals. Looking for something special? Give them a call and tell them Doug Christie sent you. They'll help you out. Hurry to Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, your trusted dealer, my trusted dealer for over 35 years and counting.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
Take it on the local level.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, Sactown Sports. It's time. It is that time. Time for Stiles and Watkins.
You can join the show by texting 916-339-1140. Find us on YouTube at Sactown Sports 1140.
It's time for Alan Stiles and Chris Watkins.
Yes, yes, yes. It's here on a Tuesday. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports. It's going down. The play-in.
Can you feel that?
Everything you could ever want is right in front of you.
Yeah.
Who will you choose to be?
Yeah.
Sacramento Kings. Chris Watkins in the booth.
Yes.
Simone behind the glass. We got guests on the Kings side. We got guests on the Warriors side. Monty Poole, one of the most well-known Warriors writers, Bay Area writers, really, that you could think of. The roundtable, Brenden Nunez, Frankie Cardicelli. Will it be our last? Well, we sure hope not. They join us at 12:30. Monty joins us at 11. Chris, tell us about this shirt. The vibes are vibing.
Yes.
You're fitted up.
Yep.
Okay, Dave just left. He's in a hockey sweater, Kings hockey sweater.
Yeah.
Simone's fitted up. We're ready to go.
Yeah. We're ready to go. I know. Yeah, your opening speech there gave shades of Brian Dawkins, early Eagles Brian Dawkins. Might have to, pump myself up later. I used to in high school watch Kemba step back and Isaiah Thomas at the horn to kind of get hyped up. Definitely one of those kind of days. Yeah, I got the I am optimistic about the Sacramento Kings this year t-shirt on. Gotta feel good. Okay, I feel like yesterday a bit negative and yeah, sure. I'll just say a bit negative. And, I think a lot of the reality of the situation kind of setting in maybe a bit too much. And this is a one-game playoff that we got going on right here. And there's anything that can happen. We're going to break it down the entire day, but just going to try and keep the vibes as up as possible, keep things positive, and, we'll see how the night shakes out.
The bottom line is this. It's house money. Yep. Okay? The conversations that we had throughout the season of being hard on the Kings, even just up to last week when they tricked off games, the reality is this is what it is now.
Yep.
You lost your third best player. You lost a starter as well. You're in this situation. What in the world do you have to lose? Right. I'll tell you what. How much do you actually have to lose when you're the 23rd highest payroll, going up against number one? And you still finished better than them.
That's right.
They got all the pressure.
Yep.
When we talk to Monty Poole, he'll tell it. They got all the pressure because they can't just beat the Kings.
No.
They have to get into the playoffs.
Yeah, this is or
that's a failure.
Yeah.
Okay, the Kings, they're in a different part of life. We talked about one word yesterday for the Kings, and I said puberty. Well, what is it for the Warriors? AARP. That's what it is for the Warriors. They're on the other side of the hill, trying to hold on to something that is just inevitably going to end.
Yeah.
And whether the Kings do it or not, it's almost over. It's almost over, and they're trying to fight through. You know who the Warriors are? The Warriors, they're that 42-year-old that's still going to the club.
Oh, yeah.
He's still going to Tiger.
Right.
I just want to kick it.
I
just want to hear the new Drizzy. I just want to hear the new Future.
Oh
Dude,
God.
go home and play with your kids. It's over. It's over. Go home and play with your kids. Go play catch.
Yeah.
Go play catch, Warriors.
It's midnight, please.
It's midnight.
Yeah, go home.
Go home.
It's getting sad.
Please, man. And don't grab the tacos from the taco truck. Just go home.
The hot dogs out there, they give me some time.
Maybe get some because you're gonna be struggling at 42.
That's right. You got to get
still
your
in
kid
the club
too.
Yeah, exactly.
Get a
Get a quesadilla for your kid. Come on, man. It's over. Even if the Kings don't do it.
Man, it would be great, though, wouldn't it? If the Kings can be the one. And this is the same exact thing that we were talking about at this time last year, too. But, like, the opportunity that's in front of the Kings is incredible. I mean, to feel like you had a hand in closing the book on this dynasty, which it definitely has been. I mean, who knows if it actually truly closes, if Clay leaves or if he stays. But it would definitely be I more so think about the inverse of it too. Like if the Kings, if the Kings lose to the Warriors, like that's just not something I want to have hanging over my head the rest of this time. Because if this thing does break up, the Warrior fans will never, ever forget about it. We will never have that one up on them. Yeah, of course they won the playoff series already. They got that in their pocket.
They didn't win anything after that.
They didn't win anything after it. And you know what? This is a nice little consolation prize. It might not even out completely, but it's still a retort that we can throw back. We can't throw anything back if we lose to them tonight. So I'm hoping for a Kings win. It would be huge for just the culture of Sacramento and absolutely to just kind of get our, even if it's a small, tiny version, get our little piece of pie so we can throw it in the Warrior fans' faces. And then next round in the play-in, we have an opportunity to exercise that ultimate demon in the Lakers. We already know that story. There's a lot of history behind those two teams. Kings definitely owe the Lakers one, or I guess you could say the Lakers owe the Kings one because of what happened in the early 2000s. It would be incredible if the Kings can make this run. Of course, it all starts tonight. I think a lot of it is on hope, but man, there is a chance that this team wins. And it's not out of it. It might not be likely. You look at the Vegas odds, people aren't favoring the Kings, but man, there is absolutely, the Warriors are here too. That's all I got to say is the Warriors are in this position as well. They've shown a lot of cracks in the armor throughout this season. And even though it is Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, all the names are still on the marquee, these guys are not the killers that they used to be. And, it is possible. They bleed the same as everybody else. Like we said yesterday, they're 0-2 in the play-in. They've been in this situation before, and they didn't come through. So it can definitely happen again.
Yeah, the Warriors, they're busy trying to figure out how they're going to get back to the promised land. They're not even thinking about the Kings and losing this game.
No.
I don't even think it's come across their mind.
No,
and
absolutely
it's not just about the Kings, it's also after that, whether it's the Pelicans or the Lakers. Obviously, they play tonight. So we'll break all that stuff down. Giannis is out. I told you, man, don't play with that calf, Achilles. Somebody said that going back to the KD Warriors, what happened with KD?
Right.
It was called a calf injury.
Right.
They tried. I don't know if they rushed him back or whatever it is, and pop goes the Achilles.
Right. So
the Bucks are in a precarious situation. They don't have a lot of time. So we'll break down what that means for the Bucks and the Eastern Conference. I mean, it's wide open for number 2. Okay, it's wide open to see who's going to challenge the Celtics.
Yes.
I think the Celtics, compared to the Nuggets, you know me, I haven't been very high on the Nuggets all season long. I think they're a good team. I think they could be beat. I think when I look at both, and they're not the top seed, the Nuggets, but when you look at the favorites for each side, I don't think it's even close, the Celtics compared to the Nuggets. I mean, and maybe I'm being disrespectful to the Nuggets, but I see the Celtics and the rest of the East thinking nobody is messing with these boys unless Jimmy Butler, Jimmy time.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. They got their own challenges in front of them. They got to even make that matchup in the first place. They're playing Philly tomorrow, so they were in this situation last year too, where they tricked off the first game of the play-in and then snuck in as the 8th seed, and the rest is kind of history. But Miami's no shoe in. I think the Celtics absolutely should be the favorites in the East, and you look at the Knicks, they definitely I wouldn't say lucked out because they earned that spot, but to be on the other side of the bracket from the Celtics, that bodes well for them.
That's
maybe
true.
A lot of people don't. I like to bring it up a lot, but a lot of people don't like to talk about the fact New York Knicks made the second round of the playoffs last year. Talk about success not being linear, all that stuff. Doesn't mean that it can't be. And the Knicks going from where they were last year, upsetting the Cavs in that first round, making the second round, this year making the 2 seed with all the injuries that they dealt with. I think they're probably the best competitor for the Celtics, and they play a completely different style. They're trying to muck it up, and Celtics get a lot of accusations of being soft, and I don't know if having Kristaps Porzingis on your team is necessarily going to help those accusations, but I think it's going to be a great playoff, and it really, honestly, that's the funny thing about this play-in is I don't even know if any of it matters because of in the East more so that team is just going to get ran through anyway.
The only team for me it would be the Sixers, because the Sixers are some version of the Lakers last season, where instead of trade deadline moves, you got your reigning MVP back. So that's really the only team that could surprise us, I think. As far as the Knicks are concerned, I mean, if Jalen Brunson pulls that off, I mean,
crazy. That's like shades of IT, right?
Would have to literally go on air and say, I wasn't familiar with your game. I don't think it'll happen, but if you can muck it up enough, it's possible. But over in the West, we already know what it is. Lakers, Pelicans. We'll get our picks in on that. And we'll also do our final predictions on who will win the whole thing. Yeah. We will also break all that down and who we think will come out of the play-in on both sides. I mean, honestly, Chris, my first inclination, and we'll give official later in the show, my first thought would be the Pelicans. I do find it hard. Whether the Lakers are trying to win or not, I don't think it's going to matter, because I don't see the Pelicans putting up two stinkers. They do seem to lose to the Lakers and don't like playing the Lakers in big games. Right. But I think I would be more on the side of the Lakers if it was a close game. Yeah. The fact that you got embarrassed at home makes me feel like the Pelicans are going to figure it out and send the Lakers to game number 2 on Friday, which will either be the Kings or the Warriors in La La Land.
Yeah, I think the Pelicans are a better team. The only thing that scares me about the Pelicans is I just don't know if they're built like that. And I know that's not really great analysis, but like it just feels like at every turn and opportunity to where everybody's ready to say, oh, the Pelicans, like especially, I think last year when they were the 1 seed and then ended up falling victim to all those injuries, and just this year just kind of being unspectacular. And then in the play-in tournament, literally playing this Lakers team and just falling on their face. The last game of the season, falling on their face to the very same Lakers. You could argue maybe it's just a bad matchup, but it is the matchup that's in front of them. I think they have better players. I just don't know if they have the right sense of urgency. Like LeBron James understands, regardless of what the rumors are, that they want to lose to play the OKC in the first round. He understands that you should not play around with this kind of thing. Like if you have an opportunity in front of you, don't mess around. You definitely don't want to play Steph Curry in a one-game elimination where one of y'all has to go. Take care of business. And I just think that the Lakers are more suited to capitalize on opportunity than the Pelicans. But that's really all I got.
You know what it is right now with the Warriors and the Lakers, with both teams kind of in the sunset. I mean, LeBron's more in the sunset than Steph, but they're both just kings, no pun intended, of tiny victories. LeBron, what they did a couple days ago against the Pelicans is to hold on to the 8 seed, right? That's the type of stuff. LeBron, he can get up in spurts. That's why they cannot do that every game anymore. So you're right. The Pelicans are the better team, but this is a game where LeBron can show out. He can hit the nos that he hasn't been able to do. Austin Reeves get jiggy, and everybody talks about how good Austin Reeves is, and they win and they get in. But then after that, they get packed up.
Exactly.
And that's the same thing that does scare me with the Warriors. Warriors, same thing. We're going to beat the Kings because that's the standard. We're always going to beat the Kings. Then after that, we don't have anything left.
You got to fight off death a little bit.
Exactly. That just makes us feel a little bit better. When we return, we got Frank Facts, and we're being positive all day long, but we do have to get to these Frank Facts that aren't that positive. After that, we're keeping the positive vibes going. We got to break everything down for you. Like we said, Kings Roundtable, 12:30, Monty Pool, 11 o'clock. Hang with us, Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Subscribe to Sactown Sports on YouTube and watch the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Live Monday through Friday from 6 to 6. Plus view archive shows and exclusive content.
Subscribe at youtube.com/Sactown Sports.
Ooh, ma. What was that? That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very
calm. I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Now they have everything they need to come to life. Dell Technologies and Intel are creating technology that loves ideas, loves expanding your business, evolving your passions. We push what technology can do, so great ideas can happen right now. Find out how to bring your ideas to life at Dell.com. Welcome to Now.
Live and local, it's Stiles and Watkins. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
Woke up this morning feeling dangerous. Hopefully that's what the Kings are saying. Davion, you feeling dangerous? Trey Lyles, you feeling dangerous? How about the Black Falcon, Harrison Barnes? You feeling dangerous? I know. I'll tell you this much, Chris. We have not been easy on De'Aaron Fox. But I know De'Aaron Fox woke up feeling dangerous.
Yeah, he has to. Because if he didn't, Kings are going to be in for a long one. I mean, that's really the biggest thing for me today is your stars have to be great. Like Domantas Sabonis, De'Aaron Fox, they got to be great, man. They got to be excellent. They got to be number 2 and 3 or 1 and 3 or 1 and 2. They got to be the best player or some version of the 2 of the best 3 players on the floor.
Sabonis, we've talked about it. It does bother me. We were texting in the roundtable group chat yesterday, and I didn't get all responses from you, Brenden and Frankie, but we'll talk about that during the roundtable.
Really?
But
sorry.
One thing I'm used to it. But one thing I am worried about, and we'll talk about it with them at 12:30, is the matchup of Trace Jackson Davis. I've been talking about it, and I know you're not as nervous about that. So I really want to break all that down. We're going to open up the phone lines, 916-339-1140. All guests and callers, join us from the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Chris, all right, let's just get through it.
Yeah.
Okay, you're calling it the worst Frank fact.
This is the worst.
And then we'll move forward.
Yes, this is number 1 on the list of my least favorite Frank facts that has ever been delivered. So bear with us here for a second. The worst Frank fact ever, brought to you by Frankie Cardicelli and SactownSports.com. This was not found on SactownSports.com, but you can read Frankie's post-game article, and I'm also pretty confident Frankie and Brenden are going to be dropping tons of things even before today's game over on SactownSports.com. Go check that out. Here it is. The worst Frank fact of all time is, and Frankie must have not read my shirt. It's fine. He'll see it later.
That's right.
The Kings have not won a winner-take-all postseason game since moving to Sacramento in 1985. I repeat, the Kings have not won a winner-take-all postseason game since moving to Sacramento in 1985. They are 0-6. They are 0-4 all-time in Game 7s, of course, including last year, including that infamous Game 7 against the Lakers. They are 0-4 in the Sacramento era in Game 7s. And then, of course, back in the day when series used to be the first round would be best of 5, Kings were 0-2 in Game 5s, including, I believe, one also against the Los Angeles Lakers. So not a very good history. Of course, this is the first time that the Kings have ever been in the playoffs. In the play-in. This is the first time the Kings have ever been in the play-in. Of course, that still counts as postseason, but this will be their first opportunity to win a winner-take-all game in franchise history. In the entirety of the franchise, that's including Rochester, it's including Cincinnati, all that stuff. The Kings are 6-12. That's a .333 win percentage in winner-take-all games. The most recent win, so what the ghost that the Kings are fighting tonight on top of the soon-to-be ghost of the Warriors franchise or whatever era, was April 14th, 1981, when the Kansas City Kings beat the Phoenix Suns in Game 7 of the second round. So in best of 7 series, Kings are 2-5. Best of 5, they're 2-3. Best of 3, they're 2-4. The Warriors, this is another Frank fact as well. The Warriors are 28-4 this season. That's an 87% win percentage when shooting 40% or better from 3 this season. Those 2 losses, or 2 of those losses, came against the Sacramento Kings. So they have kind of figured out how to survive. Yeah, exactly. And that's what we were talking about yesterday when it's like, you have to be able to withstand the Warriors' three-point shooting, like the emotions of it. You can't get caught up in Steph hitting 2 threes in a row. That 25% of the crowd that's there for the Warriors going crazy.
Yeah.
You can't let that hurt you. And the fact that the Kings have 2 wins this season, 2 of 4 losses have been to the Kings when the Warriors shoot over 40%. I think that's a good sign that they're comfortable against that team and don't really let the emotions get ahead of them. They kind of know, well, in the past at least, they weren't afraid to shoot bucket for bucket with them. This is a fact from our friend Brendan Nunez, who mentions the three-point shooting, going to be a huge factor in today's game against the Kings versus Warriors. The Kings, so far this season, are 3rd in three-point attempts per game. The Warriors are 4th. However, when it comes to three-point percentage, the Kings are 16th. The Warriors are 7th. So again, Kings 3rd in attempts, 16th in three-point field goal percentage. Warriors 4th in attempts, 7th in three-point field goal percentage. On the defensive side, opponents shoot the 9th fewest threes against the Kings, but knock them down at the 2nd highest clip, 38%. Warriors teams shoot 37 threes per game against Golden State. I think some of that is trying to keep up with their scoring. That's good for 5th highest in the NBA. And then on the percentage side, they have the 11th lowest percentage allowed, just under 36%. So that's definitely a problem. That's been a problem for the Kings all year. It's just didn't matter who walked in the building. They were shooting 40%.
Right.
Of course, the Warriors are one of the best three-point shooting teams in history. Definitely don't have as much firepower as I think we typically would think with the Warriors. It still is mainly Clay and Steph centric from beyond the arc, but still those guys definitely pack that thing. Last number, Will Z stats. You want to go?
No. I was just going to say Pajemski.
Oh,
he'll get him up. But.
He can get him up. Yeah. He's a new wrinkle, which will definitely I have a lot of questions for Monty Poole about just kind of their rookies and how they impact the game. Last one from Will Z stats, adjusted the numbers a bit, but the Kings record when these things happen. These are 3 keys for Will Z today. Keegan Murray scores 19 or more. The Kings are 15-7. HB scores 16 or more. The Kings are 19-6. And when the Kings dish out 30 or more assists, they are 27-5 on the season.
The assist thing is always interesting to me because it doesn't necessarily mean that they're passing any differently. It just means the shots went in, right?
Right. Yes.
So that one always got
assist
me.
numbers are hilarious, especially 30. It's like, yeah,
Y'all
like
were
if you're
hot.
passing the ball that much and people are hitting it that much, you probably shouldn't lose. Like, that means something's wrong with your defense.
Exactly. All right, well, good stuff. I know some of it was not too positive, but this is history.
Yes,
is made each and every day.
Yeah,
and it doesn't matter what has happened. What matters now, this team and this situation and the opportunity that they have. This is what it is all day, folks.
Yeah.
ABO. I'm going to get it tatted if the Kings win. Adversity brings opportunity.
That's right.
Hashtag ABO.
It'll be great, man. I mean, I just keep thinking, with how skeptical people are about the Kings having a chance to win tonight, that just makes it all the sweeter if they get the win, man. Like, the Warriors, they're expecting to win. If they win tonight, they're not going to be celebrating. They're going to be, oh, cool. Glad we got out the way. Get time for the next one.
Exactly.
We are in an opportunity here as fans where we got some chance for some fun here. At the very least, when your expectations are down and they exceed those expectations, it's something we haven't had the luxury of this season in general because expectations have been so high and haven't even been met. Now we have an opportunity to have some fun here. Okay. This has been a very, very trying season, I think, for a lot of Kings fans, those who have been following the team for a while, those who just kind of picked it up last year. I think everybody across the board was expecting more fun this year. Hasn't really been very fun.
No.
These games here, by circumstance, are an opportunity for Kings fans to have some fun if things go the right way.
Exactly. I mean, to me, and I know it's the Warriors, so maybe someone would feel differently, but to me, I feel like the worst is over.
Yes.
Right?
It's got to be.
The illusion is over. Yeah. And the thing was, the illusion before it was over was just to get to the second round. So, okay, Malik went down and and maybe you don't get to the playoffs. Maybe you lose on Friday. Maybe you get to the playoffs and you lose in the first round. So the worst is over.
Yep.
You've lost to the Warriors before and with much higher stakes. Just go in, enjoy yourself, and maybe you not play spoiler, but maybe you mess around and end a dynasty.
Right.
And at very least, have it be a good game. Just don't get blown out like Game 7. That's all it is.
Yep.
When we return, continuing the conversation, opening up the phone lines, we'll break down the Warriors and their setup. And I'll tell you this much. I'm worried about the refs. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Last season, it was the playoffs. This time around, the season is on the line for the Kings and Warriors in the play-in game.
And let me tell you, if you can't sense it, if you can't feel it through the radio, this place is absolutely nuts.
Tonight at 7, the Kings and Warriors meet to see which team keeps their playoff hopes alive. Get all the must-hear action right here on Sactown Sports and your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Spring savings continue at Folsom Lake Kia. Low payments, special offers, 0 down deals on approval of credit. Shop your trusted Kia dealership for over 25 years and tell them DC sent you. FolsomLakeKia.com.
The Arnold Law Firm has seen how an injury can turn anyone's life upside down. Whether it's a slip and fall, a car accident, or any other kind of injury. For almost 50 years, the Arnold Law Firm has been here to help you through the entire process to protect you and your family. If you are ever injured or in an accident, call the Arnold Law Firm. The Arnold Law Firm, providing real justice for you since 1975. Call 916-777-7777. That's 916-777-7777. Thinking of remodeling your home? Say goodbye to endless internet searches and visit Subcontractors United. Find a list of 3 pre-qualified and licensed contractors in each home service category. From cabinets to landscapers and everything in between, Subcontractors United makes finding qualified contractors free and easy, with no accounts to set up. Visit subcontractorsunited.com and experience the joy of stress-free home improvement. Save time and money at subcontractorsunited.com.
Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win, unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion. Persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit khtk.com.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
Miniature golf has been around America since 1916, with the first course opening in Pinehurst, North Carolina, according to Links magazine. Englishman James Barber built a course in his backyard called Lilliputian. A few years later, he built a second course and called it Thistledew. Unlike today's mini golf courses, Thistledew wasn't for children. The 18-hole course was made of compacted sand and clay, making it quite difficult. Today's clown mouths or windmills were nowhere to be found, as the course featured real hazards like rocks, trees, and grass bunkers. 4 holes even required a high-lofted niblick to carry bushes and long grass. Longest hole was 71 feet, shortest was 12. Golf fanatic Thomas McCullough Fairbairn revolutionized the game in 1922 with his formulation of a suitable artificial green consisting of a mixture of cottonseed hulls, sand, oil, and dye. 100 years later, Thistledew has returned to its home at Pinehurst Resort, and guests can play the new Thistledew. Please leave your niblick at home. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
When you take the time to shop at Folsom Lake Honda, there's one thing you'll always find. Happy people ready to serve you. As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Sacramento has a new tag team in the midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Simone, was this in Save the Last Dance, or am I in the wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the wrong?
I think it is in Save the Last Dance.
Hey, this isn't going to be the last dance for the Kings.
two-step.
That's right. That's right. Julia Stiles, by the way, no relation. No relation. Same last name.
Yeah. It's like, what are you talking about?
As we get you ready, get you set.
It's like, I don't think I know what Julia Stiles looks like.
Chris is now looking up Julia Stiles and getting the reference.
did. I had no idea.
As we get you ready, get you set for Kings Warriors. Warriors Kings. Mano y mano. Okay? Who do you want to be? How do you want to be remembered? This is the best consolation prize I think Kings fans could ever hope for, Chris.
If it goes well.
Well, but even if it doesn't, the season was already cooked, kind of.
Yeah, it would suck to lose to these guys again.
I just don't think anything, but nothing can burn as much. Losing to the Warriors as a 9 seed to have to play another game is not the same as 3 seed. Yeah. We're rocking and rolling. Definitely. The beam is new.
Definitely.
You've already been through the worst.
Yeah.
And I think the Kings might feel like that too, which might allow them to play a little bit looser than they did in Game 7 last season.
Sure, yeah. No, I think so. I think from the team perspective, absolutely. From the fan perspective, I feel like every time you die, it sucks, you know? Like every time your season's over, it's never going to feel – I don't think you can – maybe you can compare them. I mean, you know, this is only the second time the Kings have been in this kind of opportunity here recently, so I guess I can't really speak to that, but it feels like it still won't feel good. I think even if it's a good game, I think if the Kings do lose today, the energy is definitely going to be down. I don't know if it's going to be as bad, but I definitely think losing to the Warriors again would just be a pain that is just too familiar. And I think that's the thing that would hurt a bit more. But that's the downside of it. But you're right. Like the great opportunity in front of you to, even though it's not going to weigh the same as that 3-6 series, the opportunity in front of you to have a say in this rivalry, because, well, I don't even know if I should use that word, because they always say, you got to play your part. You got to win as well in order for it to be a rivalry. I know they've split the season series here, but ultimately you've got to win some postseason game. And this is still technically a postseason game. So this adds to the juice of it. And, if anything, it's a one for one. And we'll see, maybe next year, hopefully not, but maybe next year we can get a rubber match.
It feels as if the Warriors are based on Vegas.
Right.
But last season, I don't know what the line was, but I would imagine the Kings may have even been
I can't
favored.
remember. It was pretty close.
Probably close, but it felt like based on how the series had gone.
Sure.
Wow, and the Kings winning that Game 6. Wow. Okay, now it's going to go down. The Kings are going to end the Warriors, and then it didn't happen. And I do feel like there's more bulletin board material for the Kings today versus the Warriors last season. Nobody believes in us. We're cooked. Yeah. And it was essentially Steph's swan song.
Sure. In a way, the shoe's on the other foot.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. 916-339-1140. Let's get to Mike. Wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, Mike? What you got for us?
Hey, just want to let you guys, I just really enjoyed your show. I listen to you guys every day. Living in Michigan now. I've been out here for about 30 years, but I grew up in Sac, and my wife has been bugging me about trying to get to a game out in Golden One since they opened the arena. And I was hesitant just because of how everything was going on in February with the inconsistency in games. I know, coming back off the road playing New Orleans and Phoenix, I was like, this is not going to be a good experience, but I just wanted to say we did have a good time. I'm hoping to reverse the curse and not be at the game night. I'm here back in Michigan, and I'm just looking forward for a good game tonight.
Awesome.
There you go, Mike. Great stuff. Mike. Great stuff.
Yeah, we'll
Thanks
have
for
to
the
get
call.
you back out here, Mike.
Yeah,
maybe for a playoff game this year.
There's still chance. Look, man, anything can happen in a one-game setting.
Totally.
One-game setting.
100%.
That's what they say. And it's interesting, the difference between basketball, baseball, and football. Because in basketball, maybe that's why football destroys the rating so much, because anything can happen.
Yeah.
One-game playoff.
Totally.
Basketball, you get to a 7-game series. I know normally they say the best team wins, right? Because it's 7 games to figure it out. In a one, this is why we love March Madness.
Yeah,
because,
exactly.
And we'll talk a little bit about it when Draper was on, based on his time in Boston, talking about Kelly Olynyk, and when Kelly Olynyk just got hot.
Yep.
You get
exactly
hot
what happened
for one game.
Yep.
For one game. Could be Davion.
Could be Trey.
Could be Trey.
Could be Keon. We've seen Keon.
Could be Keegan.
20 plus.
Could be Keegan, 47 burger.
Could be HB again.
Everybody will lose their voice
plus.
from chanting Keegan Murray 47 times. Okay? Well, that would be divided by 2. But you get it. The buckets.
I got you.
Buckets on buckets on buckets.
No, I mean you're dead on. Like that's the beauty of a 1-game series, and especially in a game like basketball. Like you said, like that's what March Madness is built on. Is 1 game literally a 16 seed for UC Davis can beat Virginia. You know, that's the kind of thing that we tune in for every single March. This time it's happening in April, and absolutely, like you mentioned, the Kelly Olynyk game. Nobody, not a single human, no Boston Celtics expert would have said, look out for Kelly Olynyk tonight. He's the X factor.
Right.
It just happens. And, you see a shot go in, you're like, oh, that one felt pretty good.
Homeboy from Oakland. Now he's a Barstool star. The dude who made all the threes. Not Bay Area Oakland.
Yes, I know. I was like, what Oakland dude? I know who you're talking Jack Golke or whatever.
Golke.
Yes. Absolutely. Like, and that's the kind of thing where I know I said yesterday, and I've kind of been pulling back on it about the Kings winning a shootout or ability to win in a shootout. I think that's probably the route they're going to go. And realistically, you just got to hope that the Warriors don't make theirs. But that 3-point variance is such a huge factor in a single game elimination. If Trey Lyles hits 4 threes, 5 threes, if Keon Ellis hits 4 or 5 threes, like that's something that can completely shift a game, shift its energy. And again, in a 1-game playoff, you just need a little bit of momentum to go your way. And man, you get a 10, 15 point lead at the right time. That's curtains. And that's the kind of thing where, if you're the Kings, we talked yesterday about, you could see them coming out high energy, getting a big lead early, and then it just kind of fading. That's why I would much rather, of course, I would love if the Kings just blew them out wire to wire, but you got to keep this thing close at all times. If it's a 10-point lead for the Warriors, just try and keep it within 10, chip away at it, get it to single digits.
Yeah.
Don't let that thing get too far away from you. Of course, easier said than done. But the thing is, you just got to give yourself a chance in that fourth quarter. Give yourself an opportunity to go on a run, and really, truthfully, anything can happen.
Yeah, and the thing is, both teams can feel it coming, and the question is, how are you going to react? This is what we haven't seen with the Kings. We haven't seen the Kings get hot late. Now, I'm not saying I would love for them to get hot early, but the problem is, we've seen how that story ends
Shots
because
stop falling.
You're going to get cold. I would honestly take, Chris, a close game, and obviously I'm just drawing up a perfect scenario. Close game until halftime, and then can we see that first half Kings in the second half, and they just get blazing. They just go Super Saiyan, and the Warriors don't know what to do. But to me, it hasn't happened because at some point they have to look each other in the eye, whether you're a star or role player, and say, it's not a matter of, we just missed shots. You missed shots to me because you knew how much it mattered. You started thinking, dang, we're in Madison Square Garden, and we're about to pull this off when nobody thought we were. Dang, we're about to pull off this Celtics win even after they took out their guys. Dang, we're about to pull off beating a possible number 1 seed in OKC without our guys. Somebody has to power through and say, yes, we are. Yes, we are. And that's why it's not a coincidence. I will never believe that it's a coincidence that these guys are getting cold in the second half, just randomly. Right. It's up here. It's between the ears.
Yeah. No, because it's wide open looks, right? Like that's what we talked about coming out of the second half the other day. It was what went wrong? What went wrong? Was it adjustments? Was it? No, they just missed wide open looks, and you can't, like, there's nothing you could do to make that better. You run your plays, you run your action to get open looks. If you're not going to execute, well then, that's not going to work out for you. You're probably not going to win on that day. The Kings, you're right. They have to play loose. They can't ever feel the pressure of the moment because, frankly, if we're being honest here, there's really not that much pressure on them. Forget the fact that they're not like they're playing with house money, but this is the play-in. This is the bare minimum.
That's what I'm saying.
Of pressure right now. And I'm not saying if they lose today, that's saying they can't handle pressure. But ultimately, if you're missing wide open shots, if you have an opportunity, and we're sitting here tomorrow saying, did the Warriors win that game or did the Kings lose it? That's a missed opportunity. Of course, it's a missed opportunity, but these guys have it all in front of them. Everybody's acting as if, they're just going to roll the ball out and get killed, and it's just a foregone conclusion. They got to play the game still. The Warriors, absolutely are going to have to play their part in the Kings winning if it's going to happen. They're going to have to miss some open looks. The Kings are going to need to pick their guy, and I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but they're going to have to identify somebody that they're willing to live with if they beat them. I think a lot of it last year was, funny enough, Dante DiVincenzo when he wasn't really going. They let who did they let shoot? Moses Moody Moses Moody, you could argue, capitalized on all the opportunities. Right. Thankfully, Steve Kerr was helping out his good buddy Mike Brown, pulled Moses Moody out of all those games. But you've got to pick some guys that you're willing to live with. And ultimately, I am really excited to see, or I guess anxious to see, what are they going to do with Steph? Are they going to double team him? Are they going to, throw Davion on him like Mike Brown caught tons of flack for not doing in that Game 7, taking Davion off of Steph after he had put such great ball pressure on him all series? Are they going to double him? Are they going to put Keegan on him? Are they going to blitz him? Are they going to save that for the fourth quarter? To me, these are the kind of things that are going to end up making or breaking the game. And, the Kings, you just have to believe you can control what you can control. Force turnovers, hit your open looks. Please, Allen, make your free throws. Make your freaking free throws. If they shoot 70% from the free throw line tonight, they have nobody else to blame except for themselves. We talk a lot about the offensive rebounds in Game 7, talk a lot about Steph Curry in Game 7. I'm going to look it up here. I'm pretty confident the Kings shot somewhere near 40% in that Game 7 last year in the playoffs.
When we return, continuing the conversation, we will break down the Warriors and how they got here ahead of Monty Poole, NBC Sports Bay Area, who covers the Warriors, Bay Area legend. That's at 11. And then we'll talk about who needs to step up. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
They had never been in the playoffs in the same season, let alone play one another in a playoff series. That all changed last year in a first-round 7-game classic. Now, the rivalry continues Tuesday night in the 9-versus-10 play-in game. Winner moves on. Loser goes home. Kings, Warriors, Tuesday night at 7 on your home of the Kings, Sactown Sports.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there.
Covenant House helped me break the cycle of homelessness in my family. They gave me the love that I needed.
Over 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed tonight. When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges and have a brighter future.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding. I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
If you or someone you love is asking for help, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
For a precision-crafted performance, the decision is easy. A new Acura from Acura of Stockton. Get the driving experience you've been waiting for in a new Acura. Get the best selection and customer service you deserve from Acura of Stockton. Shop in person or use our online express store at AcuraofStockton.com. Acura of Stockton will buy your trade, even if you don't buy from us. Don't settle for less than precision-crafted performance of a new Acura from Acura of Stockton and AcuraofStockton.com.
I'm Craig Ashton of the injury law firm of Ashton and Price. Whether you've been injured on a bicycle, as a pedestrian in a slip and fall, auto, Uber, Lyft, or big rig accident, you need Ashton and Price in your corner. When you call Ashton and Price, there's no chatbot telling you to hit 3 for accounting. You're greeted by a real-life person who will immediately transfer you to an experienced attorney. The consultation's free, and there's never a fee until you win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
I love springtime. The sunshine, the longer days, but I don't love stressing about outfits for all of our plans. Between brunches, showers, and spring break, we need looks that keep up and savings that keep it under budget. That's where Kohl's comes in. I scored 25% off dresses for myself, and with the 15% off going on, I got my daughter a dress for under $22. Plus, I earned Kohl's cash. So if you want a stress-free spring too, shop at Kohl's. Select styles. Some exclusions apply. Women's dresses, coupons do not apply. Offers end April 21st. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
Getting
Hiring quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Capital Casino has been serving the greater Sacramento area in the same convenient downtown location for over 20 years, with plenty of close-by, well-lit parking monitored by security staff and offering the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Best food, best service, and the best action. That's Capital Casino. For more information on tournaments and gaming, check out their website at capital-casino.com. And please remember to gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
So here's a fact. 85% of the population will suffer from foot pain in their lifetime. That's almost everyone. So you'd think there'd be plenty of healthy long-term remedies, but there just aren't. Right? Hi, I'm Dan from the Good Feet store. You know, people come in all the time sharing the same frustrating story. Bought this, tried that, been there, done whatever, all different kinds of things, but all with a similar result. Nothing. A discouraging and endless cycle of disappointment. If this rings a bell, don't despair. There is hope. If you think you've tried everything, you probably haven't tried Good Feet arch supports from the Good Feet store. They're designed to relieve, even eliminate the pain commonly caused by certain foot conditions like plantar fasciitis, bunions, flat feet, and others. Plus, provide better balance and increased comfort. See what we can do for you with a free arch support fitting. Just stop in or schedule an appointment. With over 200 stores, there's likely one in your neck of the woods. Find yours at goodfeet.com.
Everybody needs Good Feet.
Sacramento has a new tag team in the midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Breakdown on how the Warriors got here with the most expensive payroll in the NBA. I was looking, Chris, the other teams, and we did this a couple months ago, but the other teams, I believe they are the only Western Conference team in the top 5 that are not in the playoffs straight up. The Clippers, the Suns, other teams with really high payrolls. Weirdly enough, the Wizards are in a terrible spot, but we'll save that for the summer. But yeah, the Warriors are number 1, and you have the Clippers at number 2. It's bad, man.
Yeah, that's not great. You definitely don't want to be throwing out that level of purse and then, like having to go 10-2 your last 12 in order to make the 10 seed. It's not great. That's definitely not great. And I can only imagine if that were happening here in Sacramento, what the discourse would be. Of course, it's happening in Golden State, and they're using it to justify how good they are. So, it's definitely something that they're going to have to. I mean, they got to face it this offseason. I think that's the biggest thing working against them with the Clay thing is at some point you can't justify paying the highest payroll in the NBA when the guys that you're paying the most aren't. I mean, of course, Steph is doing his part, but Draymond and Clay aren't really $25 million per year players anymore.
And I'm not, and look, I hope it's true because I want Malik Monk to stay, but I really would be surprised if, I'm hearing the Magic. I could see both these guys, D'Lo and Clay, allegedly they're higher on the Magic's wish list than Malik Monk. Okay.
Please.
I mean, that's the thing about brand names. That's one of the good things about Sacramento. And when we have Brenden and Frankie on, we will break down the curious case of the 6-man award. I posted something yesterday, and then Drapes and Jay said that it wasn't true. I guess Jay reached out to somebody that was on the list that I posted. They said they hadn't got a ballot yet. I was talking to Chris before the show. This person that I reposted, it seems like they did their own homework by looking at articles and things like that. Right. Not to say that these were official, but where these people were leaning.
Right.
If Malik Monk doesn't get 6-man, it's a complete travesty. It looks like Naz Reid is trying to sneak in there. So we'll break all that down. But Chris, here are the payrolls. Golden State at number 1, the Clippers at number 2, who are the 4 seed.
Right.
Timberwolves at number 3, who are the 2 seed,
I think
3
they
seed.
finished 3. Yeah.
Suns, they're in there. The Wizards at 5, which is just atrocious.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's just a random. I mean, what are you doing?
I
Like
would
I
hope
said,
some of those are expired.
Summer conversation. 6, the Milwaukee Bucks. 7, the Boston Celtics.
Okay.
8, the Denver Nuggets. And you don't get till 9 with the Los Angeles Lakers, another playing team. And then I'm not really counting the Sixers at 10 because of
right,
the main guy you're paying being injured. So those 2 teams, but I mean, Golden State by far number 1. That's just it's just terrible. And they're number 1 by they're beating the Clippers by 22 million.
Yeah. And I know they have Chris Paul coming off the books this offseason. I think he makes something near $40 million. So that's definitely elevating their price tag quite a bit. But I just don't feel like they are getting the necessary value out of that. Like you would think if you're paying that much money, they are definitely deep. They got Wiggins and they got, Kuminga and Moody, who both of those last 2 aren't even being paid yet. But, it just feels like, if you're paying that much money, you should definitely, absolutely, at the very least, be clinching a playoff spot. And the fact that the Warriors are in that 10 seed, I mean, to me, again, that's a sign that, when we're over here talking doom and gloom and the Warriors look great and they're playing great, they're paying the number 1 payroll and they are grossly underachieving. And, they're in this situation the same way the Kings are, if not even worse, because again, they are the 10 seed in this matchup. Let's not forget. I think, there is a lot. I think that the Kings have a better chance than maybe what even I had given them previously. But, that's why they play the games. And it'll be interesting to see how close or how big of a blowout it is, because I think a lot of people are expecting it to just be Warriors, by 15 plus the entire game.
Yeah. And, to bring up where the Warriors are, the crazy part is since January 30th, Golden State is 27-12. That was 4th best in the NBA. So Golden State had to ball out just to get to 10.
Yes.
That's how bad it was
10
in the Bay Area.
The last 12. Yeah.
That's how
best
bad.
Record in the NBA the past 12 games.
That's crazy.
Just to lock up a 10 spot. They had to play and that's, credit to them. And that's, that definitely adds a bit of the doom and gloom, I think, is the fact, again, the Kings are playing arguably their worst basketball of the season versus the Warriors, who record-wise are playing their best basketball of the season. And so obviously when those 2 forces meet, you're naturally going to give the leaning to one side. But, that's the beauty of the playoffs, man, is guys step up their games. We know, too, here's an interesting wrinkle. The way that this game, that the game has been called since post All-Star does not bode well for the Warriors. They are not a free throw shooting team. They're not super physical. Not that the Kings really are much of a free throw shooting team either, which, by the way, I looked up the numbers. I gave the Kings too much credit in that game 7. I said I'm pretty sure they shot near 70%. Thought I was hedging my bets a bit. I could not have been more wrong. The Kings shot 59% in that game 7, 16 of 27. So even if they get to the line, they might not execute. But saying that, getting to the line is huge for this team. Again, Harrison Barnes, that's where his bread is buttered. Please get to the line. I want to see at least 6 free throws tonight for HB. It's got to be a couple trips to the line. I would love to see him get up to 10, but to me, that's got to be another X factor for this Kings team, is just absolutely destroying the Warriors in the free throw game battle. Getting Draymond in foul trouble would be huge.
The real Cheech has similar thoughts. We're all rooting for the Kings. This is on Sack Chat, but there's no way, shout out to the Sack Chat, NBA is not going to allow Steph or LeBron not to be in a series.
Woo.
Yeah,
isn't that an interesting wrinkle?
Honestly, that worries me a lot. And we'll break it down a little bit more. But how they let the teams play today, if they're not letting Davion or Swipa De'Aaron just be a little handsy, or I should say Keon more so than Davion, it's bad.
Yeah,
because you have Clay just took the mantle from Steph. He just qualified for best free thrower this season. So they have the 2 best free throwers in the league.
Yes.
So and Clay doesn't get to the line a lot. He just now qualified in game 82.
Right.
But if they are not being allowed to play like they have in the last couple games, which has kind of been the most confusing thing.
Right.
And that's what Coach Mike Brown was complaining about in one of the last games, not this last one, where, hey, there's touch fouls on one end and not touch fouls on the other end. Which is it? yeah, I would put your seatbelt on. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be good. And I know that doesn't bode well for the Kings, but it is what it is.
That's one of those situations too where I don't believe it, but I don't even really want to say. The spirit of what I want to say is more than the actual factual of what I'm saying. The Kings should almost consider like starting Chris Duarte just to start the physicality on Steph early. Like they're not going to do that. Sure. I also don't think they should do that, but the point is more start at a 10 at aggression with Steph. Like be incredibly physical with Seattle Seahawks 100%. Yeah. You do a personal foul. You not a personal foul. You do a pass interference, a holding on the first play. You set the tone and you let them know this is how it's going to be. So you're either going to literally call this the entire game, which, that's one of the Kings' only ways to win. So if the refs are going to call it that way, there's nothing you can really do.
Right.
You got to be as physical as possible with him from the jump. And then you can peel it back a little bit as time goes on, but you want to set the tone early of this is what we're going to do. And you're either going to call it now or you're not going to call it at all. And put it in that sense, put the game in the referee's hands, because that's really the only way you're going to be able to completely shut down Steph is if you can get really physical with him, force him into all those behind the back, over the head passes that get crazy turnovers. That's how you can really throw this game off. I don't know if I definitely don't think they're going to start Duarte. I don't know if they're willing to risk that because we've seen Mike Brown has gone 7-8 deep on his bench. I don't know if he's willing to risk one of his primary guys, but that's the kind of energy I think they need to bring today is just balls to the wall, go dog of the game from the start and just honestly beat the hell out of Steph early.
Yeah. And, when you look at who it's going to be, you might see Duarte because that's the thing. If they try to set the tone and Keon now has 2 quick fouls, which he had, I think, what did you have last game or 2 games ago against the Suns? That's a problem. And you're probably going to have to go to guys that you haven't typically gone to.
Kessler, Duarte.
That's right.
Might see some Colby Jones.
Bash Brothers, bring them back. Coming up next, Monty Poole joins us of NBC Sports Bay Area, breaking down all things on the Warriors side. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
A year ago, Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors ended the Sacramento Kings season. Tuesday, the Sacramento Kings have a chance at revenge in the play-in game. Join Sactown Sports for complete coverage on air and online with guests, previews, and predictions for the win-or-go-home Northern California battle. Kings and Warriors, Tuesday at 7 on your home of the Kings. Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the network made for streaming. Well, in the same week, the A's announced that beginning next year they'll be playing at Sutter Health Park until the move to Las Vegas. Paul Blackburn did some very impressive things on the mound. When he blanked the Tigers for 6 innings in Detroit, it gave him 13 consecutive scoreless frames to begin the season, the 4th best total in Oakland history, the record being set by Matt Keogh with 16 back in 1980.
Want more speed? Well, Xfinity just increased their internet speeds, and they're faster than ever. It's time to get more out of your internet with faster speeds from Xfinity. Now through June 21st, get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for only $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract. That's double the speed for the same great price. Click, call, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and other charges extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Drapes, Kyle Draper here from Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. I get a lot of compliments from my friends about my new EQS SUV. Mercedes has proven that electric cars can be gorgeous. That's right. It's a pretty vehicle. My EQS, it's the finest vehicle I've ever had. And some of my friends have asked, what's it really like to have an electric Mercedes? Is it easy to own and operate? Is it easy to charge? Well, let me tell you this. It's as easy as owning a regular gas guzzler, except you never got to put in gas. I never stress about battery charging. It's got a long range, so there's no problem there. And of course, it's easy to charge. Just plug it in, and that's it. Right now, Mercedes-Benz of Stockton is offering up to $19,000 in Mercedes-Benz incentives on select new vehicles and certified pre-owned Mercedes vehicles as low as 1.99% APR for qualified buyers. So head on out to my good friends at Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. It's just a half hour from Sacramento, right off I-5, or online at mbfstockton.com.
Contact Tax Relief Helpers for details and restrictions. Attention anyone that owes money to the IRS. The IRS has restarted aggressive enforcement actions against taxpayers who owe back taxes that were temporarily suspended for COVID. If you owe $10,000 or more, you must hear this because now is the time to clear your IRS tax debt. A special toll-free number has been established so you can stop penalty fees, avoid liens, levies, and other hostile measures by the IRS. Call Tax Relief Helpers right now at 800-934-9217. Tax Relief Helpers will provide you with the maximum protection afforded by law.
I got behind on my taxes and owed $48,000. I didn't know what to do. I called and they got my bill lowered to just $3,500.
I owed $87,000 in taxes and it was scary. I got the amount I owed down to just $3,500. I saved $83,500.
If you owe money to the IRS, don't wait another day. Call 800-934-9217 right now before the IRS enforces liens, levies, and other aggressive measures. The call and consult are absolutely free. Call now. Call 800-934-9217. 800-934-9217. 800-934-9217.
Welcome to a brighter future with Aztec Solar, serving Sacramento since 1980. Everyone knows that solar saves money. How much? The answer is a few clicks away. Visit yourpowersavings.com. It's fast, easy, and reliable, giving you instant insight into your potential savings.
I used to pay $400 a month to the power company, and that $400 a month added up to $48,000 over the past 10 years. That all changed when I switched to solar with Aztec Solar.
Now it's your turn to stop overpaying for electricity. Calculate your solar savings right now at yourpowersavings.com. And Aztec Solar will email or text you how much you'll save every month. Plus, we've got an exclusive offer for you. Get your solar electrical system for just $9,995 cash price after incentives. Don't wait. This deal won't last forever. Visit yourpowersavings.com today and take the first step towards energy independence with Aztec Solar.
Maida Chevy saves you $10,000 off MSRP on every new 2024 half-ton Silverado, LT, RST, and LTZ in stock after rebate. Over 50 to choose from.
Exclusive. All in-stock pricing at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
See deal for details. Ends 4/30/24. Guys, your testosterone level impacts your energy, drive, weight, hair loss, and even ED. Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your T level for free. For your free T level check, exam, and consultation, call 916-277-8599 or visit revivemenshealth.com.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your flagship station for the Beam Team.
Should we light the beam? Light the beam, baby.
Sactown Sports. The midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
That's right. Trying to hear that new Drizzy Future in the club, man. Go home. Go home, Warriors. Leave us alone. Leave us alone. We are now joined by Monty Poole, NBC Sports Bay Area, a legend in the Bay. Monty, thank you so much for joining us.
A legend. Hey, man, I'm just a brother with a job.
I hear you. Aren't we all?
Are we all?
Are we all? Monty, let's get right into it. You know, we were looking at the Warriors and what they've done since January going on that run. What would you say is the biggest difference or the biggest reason they've gone on the nice run that they did, which allowed them to stay in 10th place?
Well, most of it's defense. If you follow the Warriors over the course of this season, you'll see that when their defense was top 5, top 10 defense, they were a really good team. And when they weren't, they were dreadful. They're awful. So they fixed their defense in a couple of ways. One, Draymond Green came back. And when Draymond came back after his last suspension, the 12-game suspension, he fit right in. And Draymond is a great defender, first of all. But second of all, as he helps all the other guys be better. He makes them better because he sort of demands it. You know, keep up with my defense, so you got to be better. And when he and Trace Jackson Davis were on the floor together, the defensive rating has been, for the most part, under 100 between those two guys when they're on the court together. And the difference is that, unlike Kevon Looney, who's a nice player and does a lot of good things, Trace is an actual rim protector. And Draymond can kind of freelance a little bit, which is what Draymond does best. I mean, he can guard on ball, off ball. He can play the passing lanes. He can take chances, smart chances, because he's got a rim protector behind him. Now, I'm not saying that Trace is Andrew Bogut, but this is kind of like what Draymond had with Bogut early in his career, is that a guy that allowed him to sort of be a free safety on the defensive end, and that really makes a difference. And so those two guys have really good chemistry together on the court. Wiggins has been pretty good most of the season on defense, but he's gotten better. His offense was bad early. But defensively, he's picked it up too. So that's the biggest issue, is that they've got the defense in a situation where they're playing really good defense, which they did over the last 6 to 8 weeks, with a couple of exceptions. They were a team that you don't really want to see in the playoffs.
Monty, I'm curious. I mean, yeah, you talk a lot about Trace Jackson Davis there, but the rookie pairing really has been huge for Golden State this year, with not just Trace Jackson, but also with Brandon Podziemski. That's been the big difference, I think, since the last time these two teams met. What has those two rookies brought specifically to this Warrior team?
Well, Brandon brings high energy. I mean, the guy plays with his hair on fire, and it's funny, he's 6'4". He's a guard from a small college in mid-major Santa Clara. Yet, he'll have games where he gets 9, 10 rebounds. And it's strange to watch, but he'll go in among the trees, 6'8", 6'9", 6'10" guys, and come in with the rebound. He has a nose for the ball. He's a smart player. When the Warriors drafted him, I thought, okay, he'll spend some time in G League, bounce back and forth. And then I saw him play. I thought, well, maybe they can fit him in around the seams with this team. And before long, Brandon was getting rotation minutes. And then he became a starter. And it's all because his teammates began to trust him. You know how hard it is for a rookie to be trusted by the veterans? Yeah. He got that pretty quickly. And they realized he's a smart player, does good things for them, things they need. And so he's not starting now, but they know they can rely on him to do quality work when he is on the court. So I think if you're a Warriors fan, you appreciate that this guy was taken. It was kind of a surprise, but it's been a pleasant surprise for the Warriors. Now, Trace, on the other hand, is a guy who, I've been advocating for Trace since November or December. I could see that Draymond and Looney weren't working together as they used to, and the league had changed. The Warriors have won a championship in 2022 with Draymond and Looney on the court. It's almost impossible these days to play winning basketball in the NBA with two non-shooters on the court. And I think the Warriors realized that at some point. And at that point, they said, okay, we got to try something different. Trace is not a shooter per se, but Trace is a vertical spacer, which Looney is not. So he can lob through it on one end, he's a shot block from the other end. He's had some night. He's blocked Wemby twice, so he's a guy, he's 6'9", but he plays big, and he's one of those guys that is a 4-year college player, so he came in ready to play, ready to contribute. And so you look at those two guys, and it's rare that a team relies on two rookies so much, at least a good team. But the Warriors, who I think are a good team, not a great team, rely on these guys because these guys do pretty good work.
Talking to Monty Poole, NBC Sports Bay Area, covers the Warriors. Monty, I saw yesterday you were on the flagship, and you said if they're one and done, that's a colossal failure. They got to get through at least 2 games, but if they don't, it's okay, guys. It's time to start turning the page. I was curious your thoughts. Does it do not to belittle this game, because I think it's going to be rocking in Golden 1, and we'll talk about that as well. But does it do anything for the Warriors if they win tonight and then lose on Friday? Don't they have to get to the playoffs?
Yes. Yes. They didn't bring Chris Paul in his $30 million salary to go out in the play-in tournament. That's not what this was about. And to me, that's the big issue there, is that they brought Chris Paul in for a specific reason. We want to make sure he's healthy for the playoffs, because we know we have stability in the playoffs then. They didn't have it last year. Jordan Poole was a mess, and we all understand why. And so we thought, okay, let's give the ball to Chris Paul when steps off the floor and make sure that the offense runs pretty smoothly. And if they don't make it to the playoffs at all, then the $30 million gamble didn't work. Chris has been good. He's been fine. But you didn't bring him here for the regular season. You didn't bring him here to go one and done in the play-in tournament. You didn't bring him in to go one and to go. It's not at least a real tight series. If you get Chris Paul and you get to the first round with this team and you go at least 7 games, then maybe, okay, you can soften that a little bit. It's okay. It kind of sort of worked a little bit. But when you look at Chris and what he brings, he was good for the team. But they did not bring him here to win 46 games and then go home in the middle of April. That's not what he plays here. So, yeah, if it doesn't work, it fails.
Monty, I'm curious. This is kind of a 2-part question. I mean, we spoke with a Phoenix writer last week who kind of said that a big part of why Phoenix is kind of starting to play well is a lot because, those big 3 hadn't played a lot of games consistently. They'd finally strung together, I think, 20 straight games, and that's why you see Phoenix kind of turning a corner. 2-parter, would you say that's kind of what's happening with Golden State with the inconsistency of Draymond in and out of the lineup? Clay was in and out of the starting lineup. Chris Paul missed some time. Would you say that it really is just a matter of them finding some consistent playing time together? And then the second part of that is specifically with Clay. He's had an up and down season, but has really turned it around. I think he started his last 10 games. What specifically has changed with Clay as well here recently?
Yeah, I think the chemistry together part for this team is a little bit overstated in terms of them playing together. I mean, the Suns were a mess because they didn't know who was supposed to take over at a given time. They were taking turns, and that's not how it works. At least not if you want to make a long playoff run. The Warriors, Steph, Clay, Draymond have been together for a million years, so that part of it wasn't that difficult. They did have to find a spot for Clay, and once they did that, you saw him kind of ease in. Clay has had he's had to come to grips with who he is now. That he is no longer the Klay Thompson of 5, 6, 7 years ago. He's no longer the Klay Thompson who was an all-star perennial. He's no longer the Klay Thompson who's going to take over games on a fairly regular basis over the course of a season. He can still do that, but at this point of his career, he's spottier, he's streakier, and his defense is not what it used to be. You used to be able to put Clay on ball defense on the teams. You put him on Dame, you put him on Chris Paul when he was with the Clippers, you put him on really great point guard type players, and his quickness is not there anymore. But you had Achilles in one leg and you had the ACL in the other leg. We understand why. So they had to find a place to use him properly. And now with Wiggins on the court, Trace on the court, Clay's defense can be sort of hidden, and he can get his offense, which I thought when they went to the 6-man Clay role, that's ideal. You don't expect your 6th man usually to come in and play great defense. Your 6th man is supposed to come in and get buckets. Clay can do that. But now he's sort of in that role, but he's in a starting lineup. They don't ask him to guard the tough defenders, perimeter guys anymore. They look to hide him a little bit. And so that's been a big difference. And so he understands who he is now. At first, he was resisting that. He didn't really understand that he wasn't the guy he used to be. He was frustrated, and it showed in his play. And now he's at ease. He's like, okay, you know what? I can still help. I just can't be the guy I used to be.
Monty Poole, before we let you go, NBC Sports Bay Area, gotta answer this one. Do you consider this a rivalry?
A little bit. I mean, because I say that because last year, when you make it to the playoffs, that's to me is necessary for a rivalry. And last year you got that. So yeah, I think it's not a great rivalry because it's been the one playoff series, and it's a great geographical sort of situation. But in terms of a real rivalry where there's hatred, you don't see that. I mean, the Warriors had that with the Clippers back in the day when Chris Paul was a Clipper. Mm-hmm. There was hatred there. Those games were fiery. There were technical fouls everywhere. But I think now you're seeing a team that, or 2 teams at least, that have respect for each other. The Kings have definitely gained the Warriors' respect. I'm not sure that was always there.
Monty, thank you so much. We will talk to you soon. Can't say good luck, but appreciate the work you do.
All right, fellas, take care. We'll see you later.
That was Monty Poole, NBC Sports Bay Area, covers the Warriors. When we return, we want your input, 916-339-1140. The Kings win tonight if, fill in the blank. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
The NFL's leading rusher plays here.
The handoff to McCaffrey, walks in the end zone. Handoff to McCaffrey, takes it right down to the goal line. He does his thing again. McCaffrey goes in motion right. Backwards pass led by Juszczyk. A block there. Hurdles the man. 10, 5, touchdown! CMC!
You can hear all of Christian McCaffrey's touchdowns on your home for 49ers football. Sactown Sports.
Thanks for calling Discover. This is Gabby.
Hey, Gabby. It's Jennifer Coolidge. Hi. I'm so glad I reached you at 2 a.m.
Oh, of course. Anyone with a Discover card can call and talk to a real person 24/7. Now, how can I help?
Yeah, I used my Discover card to buy these yellow pleather pajamas, and I'm just not sure I'm pulling them off.
24/7 U.S.-based customer service. It pays to Discover. Limitations apply. Learn more at discover.com/credit card.
Free! Who doesn't love free? With Milo's Rewards, you get the member-only treatment that's actually worth it. Enjoy free member gifts you'll love. And once you reach Silver Key status, you can get free standard shipping. Because Lowe's knows nothing feels better than free. Learn more about our new loyalty program at Lowe's.com/MyLowe's Rewards today. Program subject to terms and conditions. See Lowe's.com/terms for details. Member gifts may be subject to additional terms and restrictions. See Lowe's.com/shipping terms for details. Subject to change.
This segment is brought to you by Aztec Solar. Skip the sales pitch. Calculate your solar savings at yourpowersavings.com.
Live and local, it's Stiles and Watkins. Watch the show on youtube.com/Sactown Sports 1140.
Or listen on the Sactown Sports app.
Thanks again to Monty Poole. NBC Sports Bay Area covers the Warriors. It was great stuff, man. I'm telling you, Trace Jackson Davis, and I hope I'm wrong, Chris. I hope I'm wrong. But defensively, it's funny how that happens. Teams play better. Well, what's interesting is that the Warriors play better defense and they start winning games. The Kings start playing better defense and they just started playing better defense. They didn't necessarily win any more games, even though the defense got better, which is weird because the most confusing thing, and this is where having Herter and Monk, we talk so much about Malik Monk and not so much Kevin Herter. This is where they're both missed because Keon, and we can look at Keon's stats. If you look at Keon's stats, offensively, he's done a pretty good job. And defensively, they've gotten better. The issue has, especially the last 10 games, right? The issue has been he's averaged 10 points, 10.5 points the last 10 games. And their defense has been significantly better. The issue has been you're missing two guys, not just one. We spend so much time on Malik, and I know Malik was averaging 15, but for Keon to get to 10, you really can't ask for much more out of that. It's just that secondary player that you have not been getting anything from.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, you need, like, tonight is huge for Domas too. Like, we can talk about the Trace Jackson Davis matchup. I think Sabonis has to dominate it. Like it can't be, your typical run of the mill. Oh yeah. Sabonis did a Sabonis night where he had 16, 14 and 8 or something. It's got to be 20 plus. Like he needs to dominate. He needs to look like an all NBA guy. And, I guess he could do that through getting other guys open as well. If the dribble handoff game is working really well, of course, that's the biggest part of Sabonis's game. But ultimately, I think when your back's against the wall, when you don't have the necessary weapons, I think, to get the job done, that's where you need your stars to step up. And, Domantas Sabonis does kind of get a bit of a pass in the scoring department because he does everything else at such a high level. I don't know if that can slip tonight, like especially with how the matchups are lined up. You just have to look at that Sabonis Trace Jackson Davis matchup, or if Draymond is going to be on him, and you have to look at it and say, that is a matchup that the Kings just have to win. They can't split it. It can't be a close one. It can't be Sabonis allowing Trace Jackson Davis to have himself a good game. It has to be Sabonis has a great game. Trace Jackson Davis didn't really give them much of anything. And, I think that he's more than capable of it. Like, that is a rookie at the end of the day going up in his first playoff game against a dude who's an all-NBA player, a guy who just had 77 double-doubles in a season and brought it every single night. I won't say none of that matters, but, this is the proving point. Like so many people, De'Aaron Fox has a great opportunity tonight. If Ja Morant were in this game, would people have counted out the Grizzlies as much as people have counted out the Kings? I don't think so. I think a lot of people would say, well, they still have Ja Morant. The Knicks, like they would still say Jalen Brunson, there's a chance. If Jalen Brunson goes off tonight, there's a chance. De'Aaron Fox is absolutely in that category of player. Show it tonight. This is a great opportunity. If the Kings win and De'Aaron has 35 plus, we just saw a first take segment of who's going to go off tonight, Zion, LeBron, Steph, or Fox. And I said, what are the odds anyone picks Fox? Tomorrow, the thing will be talking about De'Aaron Fox all day. If De'Aaron can eliminate the Golden State Warriors when nobody thinks he can do it, that's the kind of thing that will get the attention that De'Aaron really deserves. And Sabonis as well. He, more than anybody, heard flack after last year's Warrior series. Yet again, another huge opportunity in front of him to quiet all of those people. At least I'm sure those people will still say, oh, he does it in the play-in but can't do it in the playoffs.
Right.
But this is the team that really initiated all of that conversation. This game goes a huge step in Domantas Sabonis, I think, getting just confidence in general about playing in the playoffs. If he can do it against the Warriors and have a little mini redemption arc here, I think that's huge for his confidence going into this postseason and saying, look, I have improved this year. I have figured out this thing that haunted me all summer long. And again, just a great opportunity in front of the Kings to exercise a ton of demons from last year and from years previous.
Right. 916 on the text line saying Green will be on Sabonis. Yeah.
Probably.
Right.
Well, I don't know. I mean, then you're going to put – I don't know, actually.
And they switch everything like all teams do. So we're going to see everything.
Right.
But I do think they'd rather put – let's be honest. They'd rather put Draymond on HB so he can help.
Right.
That's what
I'm thinking. The only thought would be maybe since Sabonis is running the handoffs, Draymond's already there to like play on the other side of the screen. But like you said, I mean, I think we're going to see a little bit of everything tonight.
The only three players with 1,500 points, 1,000 boards, and 500 assists in a season, Wilt Chamberlain, Jokic, and now Domantas Sabonis.
Crazy.
And crazy as it sounds, the empty calorie conversation will be absurd. Not whether they win or lose, just depends on how he plays.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter whether they win or lose, in my opinion. It just depends on how he plays. This is something we're not going to talk about today from the 916. Why are you, and I don't know when we had ever done this, why are you giving Monty McNair a pass? He did nothing to improve the team the last 18 months. He stood pat. The other teams in the West improved. That's why we are stuck in the middle, stuck in the mud. After 7, we have a G League bench. Sam and Elk Grove. Yes, Sam, I mean, we talk about Monty McNair all the time. We're not going to talk about it today because the big, arguably one of the biggest games in Kings history is being played tonight. But trust me, Sam, hang with us all summer.
Yes.
We will continue to have that conversation. The phone lines are heating up. TC, we see you. Tyrone, we see you. Ken, we see you. Hang on. We will get to you right when we return. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Last season, it was the playoffs. This time around, the season is on the line for the Kings and Warriors in the play-in game.
And let me tell you, if you can't sense it, if you can't feel it through the radio, this place is absolutely nuts.
Tonight at 7, the Kings and Warriors meet to see which team keeps their playoff hopes alive. Get all the must-hear action right here on Sactown Sports and your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Folsom Lake Kia.
I'm Tamara Berg in the KCRA 3 Weather Center. Your Tuesday is looking mostly sunny. Gorgeous day for being outdoors, expecting daytime highs to peak in the upper 70s with overnight lows down to the lower 50s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA 3 News and the KCRA 3 app.
Spring savings continue at Folsom Lake Kia. Low payments, special offers, 0 down deals on approval of credit. Shop your trusted Kia dealership for over 25 years and tell them DC sent you. FolsomLakeKia.com.
Power Business Technology is proud to be 100% independent, locally owned, and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a 2022 Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729. Or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Country in the Park is back May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Jay Cohen, Walker Hayes, and more. Tickets start at just $46. Country in the Park, May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITPFest.com.
Brought to you by Tub Shed, new dog treatment sensors, and Raising Cane's chicken fingers.
Sky's the limit at Sky River Casino in Elk Grove. Enjoy over 80 table games, more than 2,100 slot machines, and our thrilling high-limit room with Sky River rewards that add up and up, and 18 elevated restaurants and bars. There's something for everyone. Visit skyriver.com today. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is Kenny and Jerry from Bell Brothers Plumbing, Heating, and Air. Everyone knows that a group of fish is called a school, but did you know a group of giraffes is called a tower? Or how about a murder of crows, a quiver of cobras, a shadow of jaguars, a shiver of sharks, or a zeal of zebras? Wild, huh? So what do you call a group of Bell Brothers plumbers? They don't fit into any of the traditional plumber stereotypes. They're clean and well-dressed. They're on time and courteous. They're well-trained and friendly. They're exactly the kind of people you'd be comfortable and confident to invite into your home. That's why we proudly call them our family of plumbers. If you need a drain cleared or any other plumbing service, we'll send one of the family right over to help you out. Call Bell Brothers at 916-444-1234, or you can find us online at thenosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
Thunder, feel the thunder.
It ignites something inside of you.
Lightning and the thunder.
Sets alight an elevated state of being. Days are pure exhilaration. And the nights, they're simply electric. See it, hear it, feel it.
Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder.
Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Feel the thunder.
When you take the time to shop at Folsom Lake Honda, there's one thing you'll always find. Happy people ready to serve you. As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
And local. Live and local.
This is Sactown Sports.
Montis No Montis Carmichael Dave said he'll probably be in the building tonight. Will he be leading that chant? By the way, there's always somebody new listening, and thank you for listening. If that new person is you, if you're going to the game tonight, we'll give you a review on all of the different chants, okay? And really the only two that you have to say anything is when they play this, they're wanting you to say, and it's been louder lately, but Do Montis Sabonis. That's how you get it going. And then the other one, which is obvious, is Keegan Murray. There you go. So those are the only two,
That's
right?
it. Yeah, that's it.
The rest you just enjoy.
We got the Monk, of course, is on layaway right now.
It's on layaway.
Yeah, it'll be back.
That's
but
right.
It's on layaway, and then the off night they just do it themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's it for the time being. We're working on it, though.
Yeah, and the Harrison Barnes. Yeah, you don't have to do anything on that one. Besides a laugh. 916-339-1140. TC, we got you. Tyrone, we got you. Ken, we got you as well. Let's start with our guy TC. TC, what you got for us?
Man, just tapping in this morning, man. Alan, Chris, what's up? Game day, dog. Y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's go. It's game day. Hey, we got to get it out the mud, man. Let's keep it simple, bro. Look. Hey, Domas, shoot that mid-range because that's what they're going to do. They're going to try to play with you, tag off you, shoot the mid-range jumper and bust their eyelids open, bro. Also, Mike, hey, throw the kitchen sink at Kerr, because Kerr gonna throw it at you. Hey, Alex Lynn gonna have big minutes tonight. Alex Lynn and Davion Mitchell, bro, mark my words, is gonna be the X factor tonight. Check it out. If Louis think he gonna grab boards, Mike, throw Alex Lynn out there. Throw McGee out there. Hey, mix it up on Kerr, because Kerr gonna think that we gonna stick with the same game plan as last year's playoffs. Mike, give them a rude awakening, bro, and throw a wrench in the game. That's all I got. Hey, the Kings win tonight, bro, by 5. Let's go. Light the beam, dog.
Thanks for the call, TC. That's the energy we need. That's the energy we need.
Kitchen sink game.
Ken, we see you, but let's get to Tyrone, who's been waiting. Tyrone, what you got for us?
Man, I can't believe I got to follow TC, man. He was hyped.
Yeah, that's cold. That's
Check
cold.
it out. I was at that Phoenix game, and good game. But one thing I saw I didn't like was Domas helping too far from the key. And so Domas is out helping on the perimeter. Meanwhile, his dude is waiting at the basket.
Mm-hmm.
And so I need Domas to kind of stay around that key, man the key, and be rough. Stop worrying about these little pity-pat fouls. If somebody lays hands on you, lay them on them, you know, within the game. And just ball out. Everybody needs to ball out.
Yeah.
The Warriors this is the Kings. We're the Kings.
That's
there you
right.
go. We're going to win tonight, and whoever's next is next.
That's right.
There you go, Tyrone.
That energy.
Thanks for the call. Yeah, I mean, look, the bottom line is the Warriors got to be just as, for lack of a better term, nervous as the Kings, because they know now. Yes, they've been in this situation, but again, it's not. This is a big game for small potatoes.
Yes,
you got the number 1 payroll in the league, and you're fighting for 8th place.
Yeah,
you are the 10 seed.
Mm-hmm.
The 10 seed,
yeah.
Chris.
No, and I really I ultimately, to bring this into a bit of a bigger picture conversation, I don't think this is the kind of when you talk about the pressure on the Kings side or not being there. You know, of course, there's the angle of course, you want to make the playoffs because, Malik Monk said, where this team finishes at the end of the year might impact where he's going to make his decision. I think that's really something that you might have to think about. I don't know how much Malik is really still factoring that in with obviously what happened, but I just think, you gotta, that's really the only pressures for the Kings are things that the players don't really need to worry about, like the draft pick situation. That's not something the players even need to remotely think about. They just need to focus on the task at hand. And I think there is some beauty here, and maybe I'm listening too much to the noise around it, not what's going on with the team. But to me, and we've been talking about it all day, the Kings are focused on this game here tonight and how to win this game tonight. It seems as if the Warriors are looking a lot further beyond tonight's game. Like you said, they're already talking about, maybe making a run in the playoffs. They're talking about how they match up with OKC or maybe playing the Lakers in the very next game. From the outside, it doesn't seem like the Warriors are super focused on winning this game, which, I think definitely gives some advantage to the Kings. I think that's a very real thing, is overlooking an opponent. And, I know the Warriors know they have to take care of business tonight, but if you're talking about desperation or hunger, I can't imagine the Kings. They better play like the hungrier team tonight, because we know these guys like to play it cool and like to say, there's always another opportunity and all this stuff. Well, there isn't any. There's not another opportunity after tonight. They need to play like the more desperate team, diving for loose balls, getting all the 50-50 balls, winning the offensive rebounds, winning the possession battle, and just paying attention to the little things De'Aaron talked about in Game 7 last year, about how the little things ended up stacking up and ended up killing them. They cannot have that this year. You have to focus on winning all of those little battles, not letting the third quarter be a killer for the Warriors, closing out every quarter on a good run. Don't let leads get extended the last 2 minutes of quarters. Focus on the little things, and I promise you'll be in a good situation. Can't let this game get away from you.
No. And both teams are playing with fire because both teams can get hot, even with the role players that the Kings have. We've seen them get hot. It's just, are you going to be able to survive those runs? Here you go, Chris, from the 916. The only way I see this season as a success is to eliminate the Warriors tonight and eliminate the winner of Pelicans-Lakers, Frank in Antelope. Yeah, I think when you do put the Warriors in the play-in, it might change some people's opinions on success or failure, and we'll break that down once the season ends. It's really hard for me to say because, you know, the texter earlier who mentioned Monty McNair, we have been hard on Monty, and you look around, we love what Keon has done, but you got a G leaguer playing, a two-way guy playing legit minutes, and it's the same thing we talked about with the Giants last season. Is it because those young guys are really good, or because of how thin the rotation is? And if it is the latter, which that's how it feels, obviously there've been injury, but who would have thought that you're leaning on Keon instead of a Duarte,
right?
And Sasha can't even, you know, Trey's out. Sasha was out for some of that time too, but Sasha still can't really get on the floor. So there's a time and place for that. And the bottom line is, I have no clue how I'll feel. I just have to see it all play out as far as success versus failure. Let's get to Ken, who has been patiently waiting. 916-339-1140 if you want to be a part of the conversation. Phones are on fire. All guests and callers join us from the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. Ken, what you got for us?
Thanks for taking my call. I am a longtime Kings fan. I love the Kings. I'm a Kings fan from the 202 Weber, Vlade, Bibby Kings. So I've been with this team a long time. So when I say this, I don't want anybody to say that I am just, you know, pouring over spilled milk, so to speak. But quite frankly, there is nothing this team has done that makes me trust that they're going to do what they need to do to win the night. And I say this only because of this. This team is 46-36. They went 0-8 against the Houston Rockets and the New Orleans Pelicans. In the NBA, if you win 50% of your road games, you're considered a good team. This team went 22-19 on the road. If they are any kind of a good home team, they're a 50-win-plus team. When you look at the games they have lost and the teams they have lost to, they have basically played with their food and find themselves in a position that they shouldn't be in. This team should be a top 4 or 5 or maybe even 3 seed. There is no reason to have 46 wins when you lost to the Pistons, the Hornets, the Bulls, and teams like that at home. Good teams don't lose to those teams. And that's the reason why they are where they are. And if we think that Sabonis is going to come out tonight against the Warriors when he never has been able to dominate against them, he gets rebounds, but his scoring is down because the Warriors play him better than anybody else. They don't let his physical way of playing dominate them. And unfortunately for us, we have to depend on Ellis. We have to depend on Harrison Barnes. We have to depend on Keegan Murray to show up tonight and play their best. Anything less from those guys, the Kings are going home. And that's how they've been all season long. They've lost games that they've had no business losing. And the sad part about this is when you look at the way they compete against a top-tier team, if they get into the playoffs, they can do something.
Yeah.
I just don't trust that they don't come with the effort, because our frustration all season long has been, how can you lose to that team? How do you show up with that effort tonight against that team? And now to go on a 2-5 in the last 7 games of the season, when you need that, to me, that shows a lack of mental awareness and toughness. If it shows up tonight, I will be pleased beyond compare. I just don't trust it.
Snaps.
Thanks for the call, Ken. I mean, look, those are facts.
Those are all facts.
Those are facts.
That's
right?
a great call.
As much as we're trying to be optimistic, those are facts.
I just don't want to hear it. Those are honestly, we have such smart call. That was a wonderful, beautiful call. I don't even know if I disagree with a single thing that was said. I'm just not onto that energy. And I'm not saying you like that is just on the nose.
Yeah.
I just can't. I'm choosing to put all that aside and just remain positive. But everything that was said there is absolutely true.
Yeah. And the thing is, all 4 teams in the play-in can say that they tricked off certain games, which is why they're there. Yes. I don't know off the top of my head. I know the Warriors fans have complained. I've seen that on my timeline, and obviously Laker fans. But off the top of my head, it does feel like the Kings had the worst. I don't know if the Warriors lost to the Pistons, the Hornets. I don't know if the Lakers lost to any of those teams. I think that is the tough part about it. But again, to Ken's final point, if it happens today, I will be pleased. They still have an opportunity to make things right, which makes the conversation of whether or not this season is a success or how will you feel. I don't know how I'm going to feel until tomorrow. I will know more tomorrow, and if they win, then I will know more after Friday when they play their next game, whether they win or lose. But I can't answer that question right now because the Warriors adds another layer that would not be there if it was even if they lost to the Lakers as a 9-10. I think it would be, or excuse me, if they beat the Lakers as a 9-10 and then lost on Friday, I might feel differently than Warriors then losing on Friday. Not to say that they will lose on Friday, but that's just how it is. The phone lines are on fire. Julian, we see you. Bill, we see you. When we return, we will get to your calls, also breaking down who needs to step up tonight. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
They had never been in the playoffs in the same season, let alone play one another in a playoff series. That all changed last year in a first-round 7-game classic. Now, the rivalry continues Tuesday night in the 9 versus 10 play-in game. Winner moves on, loser goes home. Kings, Warriors, Tuesday night at 7 on your home of the Kings, Sactown Sports.
Hey there, wanted to take a moment of your time so I could talk to you about insecurity. I could talk to you about confidence. I could talk to you about girth. Yeah, what? Girth? Yeah, okay. Let me tell you about the Upsize Clinic at UpsizeMatters.com. My good friend, Dr. Jack, and his friend, Dr. Pash in San Francisco have a safe, effective, long-lasting doctor-performed procedure. It's non-surgical, virtually pain-free. Now listen, girth is consistently ranked as the most important attribute. What Dr. Jack and Dr. Pash are offering is a free consultation. The procedure can be done on the same day as your consultation and get that confidence back. Reset in the bedroom with your partner. Financing is available. It's very private. It's very discreet. Available in Roseville with Dr. Jack and San Francisco with Dr. Pash at UpsizeMatters.com. That's UpsizeMatters.com.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency on earth, and if you owe back taxes, the news isn't good. The IRS is raising the interest rate it charges on unpaid taxes, and further rate hikes are expected. Most people don't know it, but the IRS adds interest charges to your tax debts daily. So if you owe the IRS today, you'll owe even more tomorrow, and it doesn't stop until you get right with the IRS. The good news is getting right can start with one phone call to Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm. Optima's tax professionals specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, a powerful IRS program that can save you thousands if you qualify. In fact, the experts at Optima have resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. Call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Power Business Technology is proud to be 100% independent, locally owned, and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a 2022 Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Contact Tax Relief Helpers for details and restrictions. Attention anyone that owes money to the IRS. The IRS has restarted aggressive enforcement actions against taxpayers who owe back taxes that were temporarily suspended for COVID. If you owe $10,000 or more, you must hear this, because now is the time to clear your IRS tax debt. A special toll-free number has been established so you can stop penalty fees, avoid liens, levies, and other hostile measures by the IRS. Call Tax Relief Helpers right now at 800-934-9217. Tax Relief Helpers will provide you with the maximum protection afforded by law.
I got behind on my taxes and owed $48,000. I didn't know what to do. I called and they got my bill lowered to just $3,500.
I owed $87,000 in taxes, and it was scary.
I got the amount I owed down to just $3,500. I saved $83,500.
If you owe money to the IRS, don't wait another day. Call 800-934-9217 right now before the IRS enforces liens, levies, and other aggressive measures. The call and consult are absolutely free. Call now. Call 800-934-9217. 800-934-9217. 800-934-9217.
Seems like all this artificial intelligence stuff stirs up the age-old debate of man versus machine. Hi, it's Dan from the Good Feet store, and let me ask you, would you let a robot cut your hair? Would you rely on an app to teach a kid to ride a two-wheeler? Let's face it, some things require the human touch. People come to us seeking a solution to foot, leg, and back pain after trying all kinds of things recommended by in-store machines or website blurbs. An impersonal, generic approach to solving a problem that's unique to you. No wonder they usually don't work. At the Good Feet store, you'll meet with an arch support specialist who will take the time to learn about your needs, your feet, your lifestyle, and then fit you from over 300 models and sizes of arch supports, designed for pain relief, better balance, and more comfort. See what we can do for you with a free fitting. Just stop in or schedule an appointment. With over 200 stores, there's likely one near you. Find yours at goodfeet.com.
Everybody needs Good Feet.
Spring savings continue at Folsom Lake Kia. Low payments, special offers, 0 down deals on approval of credit. Shop your trusted Kia dealership for over 25 years and tell them DC sent you. FolsomLakeKia.com.
Sactown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and subscribe.
This is a show of the people. We're going to keep it rolling with everyone who has something to say about the game tonight. Kings, Warriors, how you feeling? Trying to keep it as positive as possible. Look, I'll read it off right here. Kings, 23rd in payroll. There are only two teams with a payroll lower than the Kings that are in the playoffs, and they're both in the Eastern Conference. The Pacers at number 24 and the Magic at number 28, who are well ahead of schedule.
Yes.
Okay? There are no Western Conference teams. Actually, Chris, there are no Western Conference teams in the play-in, let alone the playoffs, with a lower payroll than the Sacramento Kings. Now, the Kings are going to go out. They're going to spend money. That's not the issue. But that's just to keep this whole thing in perspective as they go up against a team with the number one payroll in the NBA, and they have to go to Sacramento because of the 10th seed.
Yeah.
So let's just keep that all in mind. 916-339-1140. Let's get to Bill. Wants to be part of the conversation. Julian, we see you. Ken, we see you. Garrett, we see you as well. We're firing through all these. What's up, Bill? What you got for us?
How you doing, fellas?
We're
Hey,
good.
I just want to preface this by saying I'm really a Kings fan. Hope they win tonight.
Uh-oh.
But, basically the only way they're going to win is if Steph Curry is on the back of a milk carton.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And are they really the 10th seed if Dennis Rodman's illegitimate son wasn't suspended 15 games? They're more like a 5 seed. So if they don't get it done, no harm, no foul, but I do hope they win. But Curry, he's not a nice guy. So good luck tonight, Kings fan.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
And that's essentially what I've been saying. The Warriors shouldn't be here.
Yes.
So if you and you could argue, sure, the Kings shouldn't be here either, but at least the Kings can say, well, Malik Monk went down,
Right.
things like that. The Warriors have been fully loaded. No Kuminga, but they're deeper anyway.
Yes.
The comparison on bench points, I believe, what is it, 37 to 27 or something like that. So it's not going to make you feel any better. We're not trying to preach participation trophies. I don't want it to come off like that. But the bottom line is it's stacked against the Kings. The line, the spread just keeps getting wider against the Kings because the Warriors, they had higher expectations. The Kings, we were hoping that they get to the second round.
Yeah.
Okay, they're just in two different phases of life. And the Kings can still sneak up on the Warriors, get hot, or shut down, or as Bill said, make Steph Curry go missing, make him turn over the biscuit. Okay, he had 7 turnovers 2 games ago when he played against the Pelicans, if you can do those things, Steph has not been on Ellis Island. Okay, anything can happen. Let's get to Julian, who wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, Julian? What you got for us?
What's up, fellas? Love your energy again. I love all the calls that are coming in, but I'm calling for a specific reason.
Okay.
I'm trying to reverse the curse.
Okay.
I swear, ever since I made that call talking about we got the monk.
Oh, no.
I don't know how many points he scored since then, but it was very few.
Mm-hmm.
Then he gets injured. Then basically turns into a shipwreck. And today's the day we got to right the ship. So today is a day of accountability. I'm doing my part. I'm calling to reverse the curse officially.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight we start the next run, and we need all the fellas to step up, be accountable tonight.
Yes.
The other caller mentioned that Domas has to take that mid range. He's got to take it. They give it to him all day, every day.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way the Warriors pretty much taught the league how to play him. If he takes that shot in rhythm, that's going to be what makes the difference. And then we're going to need to see Mitchell do something off the bench tonight. He's got to come in. But one last thing I wanted to mention, we've been focused on, our team and all the shortcomings they have. And like during the season, I'm looking at Draymond and all of his antics. And I'm realizing, we all know this as Kings fans. We kind of lack toughness. We're going to eventually need to add a bad guy to the squad. But I just want to appreciate the guys that we got right now, because this is a great team to root for. Guys like Barnes, has he had 2 technicals in his entire career or something like that? The guy is just, and he's quiet. He just goes about his business, and we're not, I don't know if I maybe I haven't been listening enough, but he showed up ever since we've called him out, and ever since Monk has gone down, Barnes has showed up. So, I don't know much longer he's gonna be with us, but I want to appreciate the guys that we got on the squad, and a guy like Mitchell. Nobody's working harder than that dude in the off season. He brings it, and he's really getting an opportunity. He's stepped up since Monk has been down, and so I think tonight that's going to be the story. We got to see Domas take the mid range, and Mitchell come in and make a difference, and Barnes do his thing quietly like he always does. And if we do that, we're going to be okay. And no matter what happens from there, I'm good with it.
Thanks for the call, Julian. Look, we'll address Malik Monk in the summer. Okay, that's not on you. We did that together.
I know.
We did that together. But Chris did say something similar at the game. Look, I'll tell you this much, Chris.
We appreciate it, Julian.
Yes, great call.
It was worth it. It was so good.
What Julian's saying about Domas, and this is what happens, Chris, is exactly what we've been talking about that second half. It's easy to take them. What did Domas have? Two middies against the Blazers. It's easy to take middies in game 82 against some dudes that was the team. I called it the team from Whoville. It was the Whoville Blazers, because I did not know where any of them were from. It's easy to do that against the Whoville Blazers, Sabonis.
Yeah.
Can you do that when that is what they're daring you to do against the Warriors? Can you face those demons? That's what we're asking. Can you face those demons? Ken! A different Ken. Ken, what you got for us? You're on Stiles and Watkins.
Yeah, what it do, gentlemen? This is all I'm going to say to all these Kings fans out there today, man. Listen, this is the day we should have our pom-poms up.
Mm-hmm.
We all know our discrepancies about the squad, but this is a different day. This is a different situation, man. They have not been in this situation at all, man, with this coach, man, and with this squad and with the fans that we have in Sacramento. All these phone calls should be coming in, man. I know about facts and all that, but listen, man, we are a hard-playing team, man. We are a hard-coached team. And, man, we root out there the hardest we can. We light the beam when we can, man. But tonight and today, hey, Sacramento fans, let's have our pom-poms up, man. Forget all them facts and all this and Sabonis got to do it. Hey, man, all we got to do is win. And I'm out. Mic drop. Go.
Thanks for the call, Ken. What it do? Yeah, look, that's what we're essentially saying.
Yeah.
The X's and O's, the Jimmys and Joes. Yeah. We're breaking it all down, and we'll continue to break it all down 12:30 for the Kings Roundtable. But ultimately, Chris and I, when we break down games, we're breaking them down for the future, right? We sit there and we say, okay, well, this can move forward as far as this was a good thing or this worked out or this didn't for the rest of the season. If they lose this over, So we know what's in front of the Kings. There's no lessons to be learned. There's no, okay, well, next time. Yeah. There is no next time. So you have the breakdowns and how they're going to win, of course. Yep. But there's no big picture thought process right now because the picture is finished if they lose.
Yep.
That's exactly what it
at
is.
This point.
That's what it is. It's April Madness.
Yep.
It's April Madness. Hopefully not April Sadness. 916-339-1140. Let's get to Garrett. Wants to be part of the conversation. What's up, Garrett? What you got for us?
How's it going, guys? I don't know about everyone else. I'm super positive.
Mm-hmm.
I always look at the bright side of things. To me, it's 2024. In 2021, this team was 31-41.
Mm-hmm.
In 2022, this team was 30-52. Now, not exactly this team, but the Kings. 30-52. Mike Brown in 2 seasons has turned that around. In 1 season, he turned that around. Look at where he has us now. I am so pumped, so excited, so proud to be a Kings fan during this time. Dude, I was around for the team that should have won, and that was devastating, and it's been devastating ever since. When last year we got into the playoffs, man, I looked at my dad. We watch games together all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at my dad, and I was just like, this is different. This feels different. It feels like from here on out, this team's going to be playoffs, like almost every single year. Now, this year, I understand we're fighting to get into the playoffs, but to touch on what Julian said, there's no such thing as curses, Julian. There's only destiny. This team is destined to win. I'll take your call. I'll take your comments off.
There you go, Garrett. I'm getting chills up in here. And it's not just because Carmichael Dave keeps the booth at 42 degrees. Thank you, Garrett. Look, if you put things in perspective, they won 2 more games last season. Yeah. This is about, again, big picture conversation moving later in the summer. This is about, if you look at what they've done, it really, they took a step back, but you lost your 3rd best player and a starter towards the end of the year. That's just what it is. We'll discuss a crazier year in terms of the records when we return. Also, what the Kings have to do to get the W, and more of your calls, your texts, your Sack Chat. Stiles Watkins, Sactown Sports.
A year ago, Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors ended the Sacramento Kings season. Tuesday, the Sacramento Kings have a chance at revenge in the play-in game. Join Sactown Sports for complete coverage on air and online with guests, previews, and predictions for the win-or-go-home Northern California battle. Kings and Warriors, Tuesday at 7 on your home of the Kings. Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there.
Covenant House helped me break the cycle of homelessness in my family. They gave me the love that I needed.
Over 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed tonight. When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges and have a brighter future.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding. I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
If you or someone you love is asking for help, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
NBAstore.com, the official online store of the NBA, and the world's largest selection of officially licensed NBA fan gear. With unique designs by Fanatics, Nike, and all the latest styles for every NBA team, plus one-of-a-kind products and authentic collectibles. Shop now and get today's special offer. NBAstore.com, a Fanatics experience.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
I love springtime. The sunshine, the longer days, but I don't love stressing about outfits for all of our plans. Between brunches, showers, and spring break, we need looks that keep up and savings that keep it under budget. That's where Kohl's comes in. I scored 25% off dresses for myself, and with the 50% off going on, I got my daughter a dress for under $22. Plus, I earned Kohl's cash. So if you want a stress-free spring too, shop at Kohl's. Select styles. Some exclusions apply. Women's dresses, coupons do not apply. Offers end April 21st. See store or kohls.com for details.
When I want to stretch out after a long day, my sofa needs to be comfortable, but it also needs to look attractive and inviting when guests come to visit. I am Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. We spend so much time on our living room sofas that we forget they're a focal point and a hint to our decorating tastes. Right now, during Naturewood Home Furnishings sofa sale, you can save on every sofa, including gallery-exclusive custom-ordered FlexSteel furniture. Whether you're interested in a new sofa, sectional, or recliner, you can choose from hundreds of colors and fabrics. Nobody has more styles and choices than Naturewood Home Furnishings. And when it comes right down to it, it's all about choices and always about quality. Shop Naturewood for the look you love at a price you'll love even more. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings right now for this remarkable sofa sale. Off Highway 50 at Hazel, look for the water wheel.
Country in the Park is back May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Jay Cohen, Walker Hayes, and more. Tickets start at just $46. Country in the Park May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITPfest.com.
Brought to you by Tug Shed, new dog treatment sensors, and Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers.
The PGA club fitters at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio know that golf should be fun. They also know that players of all abilities will hit the ball farther and straighter, play better golf, shoot lower scores, and have more fun if they get fitted before they purchase golf clubs. Hagen Oaks delivers the same technology and major brands used to fit PGA and LPGA professionals. See how the game can be even more fun. Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio fittings are available 7 days a week. Make yours today by calling 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531.
When you take the time to shop at Folsom Lake Honda, there's one thing you'll always find. Happy people ready to serve you. As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too.
Looking to own or lease? During the spring sales event, drive a brand new Accord or Civic. Visit us today at FolsomLakeHonda.com, your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
Sacramento's official home for the San Francisco 49ers.
Touchdown! San Francisco!
Sactown Sports.
Sactown Sports.
Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Only the strong survive. I would really like to know what, Malik's not playing tonight, but we will hear from him. Shoot around just ended, Chris?
Yeah.
And we have sound from Malik Monk and Mike Brown. They do it sometimes. I know they'll partner with Apple Music or Spotify, but I'd love to know what the players are listening to tonight.
Ooh. That'd be great, actually. Yeah.
What type of music you think De'Aaron likes?
Bach, Beethoven. I don't know. He definitely does give vibes of I listen to classical music before.
Probably. I would say old school with De'Aaron. I feel like he wouldn't listen to Drizzy.
I think he's very of his time. I think he listens to that early 2000s.
Yeah.
I don't think he's. I'm sure at home he's an R&B guy, but I think he likes to go more classic. Well, classic as in early 2000s hip hop, mid 2000s hip hop.
I'm telling you, everyone is absolutely gripped by that new Future and Metro song.
Yeah, probably.
I'm trying to think if that's
it has the NBA community in a chokehold.
But I also feel like if you're hearing something during your warm-ups, you're probably kind of tired of it.
Yeah.
So you're probably not firing that up yourself. You know what I mean? But who knows?
Yeah, we can ask Brenden and Frankie because they play music during practice. I'm assuming since Malik is out, he probably is on aux.
De'Aaron is either a huge Drizzy guy or just doesn't mess with him.
I bet he's big. I bet he's big into Drake. I bet he's really big into Drake.
Well, they're going to need to pump themselves up any way they can tonight to beat the Warriors, who feel confident going into this game. They feel like they're playing some of their best ball, and the Kings have kind of limped into this position. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how you got here. You're still here.
Yep.
And, when people have conversations about momentum, I think that momentum in a game matters. I don't know how much momentum matters in a one-off like this.
Sure.
You've had a couple days off. You get to hit the reset button. If it was a regular season game, I'd say, okay, yeah, they're rocking and rolling.
Right.
But you have to be in this play-in. You know what's on the line. So I really do think the slate is a bit clean.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a whole mental reset. I definitely agree with that. Like, you had a couple days off here. You're hyper focusing on one matchup where, during the regular season, you really don't spend that much time on one opponent. Like, they're going deep into every single thing with this Warriors team. I guarantee it. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely a completely new environment, a completely new, fresh season here. And I really don't think you can, it definitely can educate your opinion on what you think is going to happen. But ultimately, I don't believe that previous play plays that much of a factor. I don't think the Warriors are going to come out in this entire play, and they might roll through Sacramento tonight. Who knows? But I don't necessarily think that the Warriors being 10-2 in their last 12 means they're the team that you need to worry about most in this play-in situation.
No, and Chris, I teased this before the break, but I'm looking here. This is from 2015, just to give you a breakdown of how crazy things have been in the past. These were the records in 2015 in the Western Conference. As we know, the Kings sitting in the 9 spot with 46 wins. Yep. This is a little bit of what we were talking about with Carmichael Dave and Jason Ross, how the play-in, it looks good this season, but sometimes it might not look as good because this is prior to the play-in in 2015. The Warriors had 67 wins. The Rockets had 56 wins. The Clippers had 56 wins. The Blazers had 51 wins. The Grizzlies had 55 wins. The Spurs had 55 wins. The Mavericks had 50 wins. And then the Pelicans were the 8th seed with 45 wins.
I mean, that's a lot top heavier, though. I mean, that Western Conference is, I mean, I don't know which way I would rather have it, honestly, where you have just like these insurmountable, behemoths up top, or where it's like, okay, like everybody's pretty good. Everybody kind of has a chance, but at the same time, like, there is still levels to it. I think it definitely leads to a lot more parity, ideally, in a situation like this, but it's terrible. I mean, the Kings really couldn't have picked a worse season to have a pretty decent year, because I think under most circumstances, yeah, I mean, they'd be the 8th seed. I guess that's only one spot higher in 10 years ago, but it feels like if you get 46 wins, I mean, last year, 46 wins gets you at least the 6th seed. So, it is kind of crazy that as bad as it's felt this year, as up and down as it's felt, realistically, the Kings are just about the same team that they were last year. And of course, like, Malik's not playing, Kevin's not playing, that affects it. But overall, like, they still are a really good team. It just hasn't felt that way because comparatively, there's so many other teams that have definitely played as well.
Well, someone who will not be on the court tonight is Malik Monk, and he spoke after the shoot-around just on how he's feeling and just moving forward. Let's hear from Malik on how he's feeling moving forward.
I wish I could say that, man, but I don't know. I'm feeling good, though. Just feeling good.
How desperate are y'all to not only move on, but get to a point where you feel like you can maybe get back?
Get back, yeah, super desperate. I'm desperate for the guys, and I know they're desperate for me to get back out there too. Because there's a big piece missing with energy and everything, man. And I just miss being out there with my guys too. So I'm trying.
during that match, if these guys were able to get through playing, the goal is going to get back at some point in the first round, or is that too ambitious? Like, what's the right scenario?
I can't tell you that because I haven't ran yet. So after that, I'll probably do
You mentioned the word like maybe you played the last game and stuff. Do you allow that to keep in your mind?
Not yet, man, because the season's not over. I try not to think about me not being here. I just try to think about the guys and trying to get back on the court as soon as possible.
Let's take Jordy's game.
Well, that
There's
was
a lot there.
eye-opening.
Yeah.
Number the last question, obviously he's going to say the right things, but as far as whether it's his last game or not,
right,
is that going to creep into your mind? But as far as people throwing out, maybe he'll make a surprise appearance.
Yeah.
The man hasn't even run yet.
Yeah, that's
and look,
that's telling.
The pendulum swings so much to where at first it was Western Conference Finals. That's when we'd see Malik again.
Mm-hmm.
We got word that he was healing quickly, like Wolverine, and then people said, "Well, could he play in the play-in?"
Right.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on. It was
Especially
it was
after
the
hearing that.
Western Conference. He hasn't. You got to run, and then you have to
cut.
Yes, exactly. And then you have to
comfortable in
scrimmage.
general.
Yeah. So
it's a lot of steps.
They got to keep winning.
Yes.
Put you like that. And
Yeah.
so to me, it
There's
sounds
yeah.
like you wouldn't have him in the first round.
There is no warrior on a white horse that's coming to save the day here. You've got to fight through, and if Malik Monk comes back, that's great. That's the cherry on top, but you can't rely on it. You can't think, okay, get us to a game 5, and then who knows, Malik might not come back. If he's at the point where he's like, man, I really can't even tell you because I haven't even started running yet. Like that's a really far way from playing. Definitely to me, I mean, that easily rules him out, not even questioning, these play-in games. And if the Kings do make the first round, it seriously would have to be like getting towards the end of the first round before I even start to consider rumors being true, because I kind of fell victim to it. I was hearing the whispers that Malik might come back, and Chris Biederman released that article in the B where he did say, I'm feeling good. I feel like I'm ahead of schedule. You kind of start to stack up all of those things without hearing Malik directly talk.
Mm-hmm.
Hearing him talk today, that shuts everything down. Like, there's just no way. That does not sound like a guy who's ramping back up to play anytime soon. So if you're a Kings fan, remove that illusion from your mind and just focus on the guys that we got out there. That's something Mike Brown talks about all the time is, anytime we ask him for an injury update, he looks over and he's like, I don't got it, because I can't think about, hey, if Malik comes back, whatever. You got to deal with the guys that you have suited up on that day, and that's who you got to be ready to go to war with, and that's going to be the case for the Kings for the next couple weeks.
Here you go. From the 530, had to drive around the Bay yesterday for work.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Forced to listen to Allen's old buddies, and they have 0 in all caps respect for the Kings. They're predicting a blowout and already on to the next game.
I'm telling you.
They did say they hate the beam, so I would love nothing more than for our Kings to get this W and shine the beam so bright that it turns the Golden Gate purple. Thanks, guys. That was from Cliff. Great stuff, Cliff.
Did you see that whack article that the SF Gate dropped?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. Our good buddies at the SF Gate, who just pay way too much attention to Kings content, by the way, they wrote an article yesterday about how, I know we all thought the beam was stupid. Well, here's another thing that we can make fun of the Kings for, which it sounds like I'm adding in. So I'm paraphrasing there. I am a bit, but that's essentially what it said. It did say, here's another thing for us to laugh at that the Kings do, making fun of the defensive player of the game crown.
Yeah.
They wrote an entire article about how, in their eyes, lame it is that the Kings have a defensive player of the game crown. I don't know. It just adds to the, okay, y'all are, it's just the Bay Area looking down on us. It was whack. It was super whack.
Well, and then something else that I saw this is from Alan Cal, that for them to do this after the fact that they've essentially admitted to stealing We Believe from the Kings.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I did not hear that.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah, this is from, because now everybody found it, and this is from Alan Cal. To be completely honest with you, I don't know what the article is from, but On a day like today, who cares? Borrowing from
about facts.
Borrowing from the success of the Sacramento Kings 04-05 playoff marketing campaign, which Sacramento used the slogan "We Believe." "We Believe" became the Warriors slogan for the last 2 months of the season and the playoffs.
Interesting. Well, "We Believe" was stupid too. So how about that?
When we return,
how about strength in numbers?
We talk X Factor. When we return, who will be the X Factor tonight? Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Last season, the Sacramento Kings gave us a little bit of everything. A Pacific Division title, GM of the Year, Coach of the Year, Clutch Player of the Year, All-Stars and All-NBA performers. Plus, we got to light the beam.
Here's a steal by Fox, the breakaway. He's got the rip with the left hand.
What does this season have in store? Find out. Each and every Sacramento Kings game can be heard right here on your proud home of the Beam Team, Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com.
Hey there, wanted to take a moment of your time so I could talk to you about insecurity. I could talk to you about confidence. I could talk to you about girth. Yeah, what? Girth? Yeah, okay. Let me tell you about the Upsize Clinic at UpsizeMatters.com. My good friend, Dr. Jack, and his friend, Dr. Pash in San Francisco, have a safe, effective, long-lasting doctor-performed procedure. It's non-surgical, virtually pain-free. Now listen, girth is consistently ranked as the most important attribute. What Dr. Jack and Dr. Pash are offering is a free consultation. The procedure can be done on the same day as your consultation and get that confidence back. Reset in the bedroom with your partner. Financing is available. It's very private. It's very discreet. Available in Roseville with Dr. Jack and San Francisco with Dr. Pash at UpsizeMatters.com. That's UpsizeMatters.com.
Sacramento has a new tag team in the midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Mm-hmm. We gonna go to the left hand like our name is Domas. Then we switch to the right hand. Work on it, Domas. Here you go, Chris. Uh-huh.
I'm so mad that you decided to actually run with it.
Look, man, the vibes are vibing.
I'm not saying it was bad.
The vibes are vibing. 15 minutes. We will be joined by Brenden Nunez and Frankie Cardicelli. And if they think they have any idea what is coming in this roundtable,
you're just trying to scare them.
They do not. They better be ready. The vibes better be vibing, or there's going to be a problem.
We know how negative Frankie can get sometimes.
That's right. Sactown Sports, Kings Insiders. Join us in 15 minutes as we talk X Factor. And, you know, X Factor could be dog segment, a lot of different things. But Mike Brown, in the way he discusses X Factor, he broke this down, and it wasn't actually a player. This is what he had to say.
The biggest thing, in my opinion, is we have to be physical with these guys. You know, they're just so good, so talented offensively. They can put up, 140 points in the blink of an eye. Steph can put up a 40 or 50 piece in the blink of an eye. And if we let them get comfortable, it can be a long night for us. And so the physicality has to be there, especially defensively, but even offensively too, with us trying to get our fellow teammate open when it comes to setting the pick and roll or setting pin downs or anything like that.
There you go.
There you go. Physicality. I mean, It makes sense, like, again, the Warriors don't usually get a lot of foul calls on them. So, make the referees make that decision, especially on Steph. Like, be incredibly handsy with him, be physical with him. Don't let him get around you. You got to make sure Sabonis especially can't let Trace Jackson Davis get in that paint, can't let him get rebounds. We saw what happened last year when they let Kevon Looney get loose. You can't let that happen. I mean, if you're Domantas Sabonis, you have to establish that physicality, which he does every single game. That's right. He needs to put that shoulder right into the chest of Trace Jackson Davis and show Draymond right where Draymond stepped on Sabonis' chest. Put one right in Draymond's chest as well. And you really got to be the more physical team. You got to be the hungrier team. You got to want it more than the Warriors do. And that might be a cliche, but it's got to show, man. Like, you might need to not look cool. You might need to be a little corny and go after every single offensive rebound, dive for loose balls that you have no chance of getting. It doesn't matter. You just have to almost speak it into existence of the energy and hustle that it's going to take to try and beat the Warriors, man, because they're going to get every little edge they can. Them with their threes is definitely a great equalizer, even if they don't have it going overall. We saw that they didn't really attack the paint too much last year. If the Kings can limit the Warriors' perimeter shots, and we know Mike Brown has been very, very vocal, especially recently, about how the Kings have practiced their closeouts to perfection and made it incredibly fundamental. Got to keep that same energy today. Got to do those high fives that Mike Brown's been talking about, and you cannot – please do not let Steph and Clay just get open look after open look, because, at that point, you're pretty much asking for it.
Chris, they're running some highlights on ESPN, and really
in-season game here.
Yeah, and just three incredible games. Really, the first game was the worst game in terms of quality. And that in-season tournament game, I don't think I realized, and this is what the Warriors do. That in-season tournament game, the Kings were down 123 to 119 under a minute. And they won that game. Yeah. They won. Malik Monk had some big shots. Right. But they won that game.
Yeah.
The Warriors are famous for blowing leads in terrible situations. Honestly, Kings-Warriors, sometimes it kind of looks like the Spider-Man meme.
As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, in that play-in game, the Warriors blew a 20-point lead. And that was like their first 20-point blown lead in like 5 years or something crazy like that. So, even if the Kings do get down, again, you can't get too down on yourself. You got to keep chipping away at it. Like you said, this Warrior team, especially when they get up, that's when they try and throw on the flare. That's when a lot of the behind the backs happen. That's when Steph will run, 3/4 of the court before the shot even touches the rim. You got to try and, just ride those waves, and you can't get too down on yourself. You got to believe it. And I think, Monty Poole said it there when we had him on. The Warriors do respect the Kings, but I think ultimately the Kings, they respect the Warriors, but they're not afraid of them. And I even think without Malik, they believe, they won without De'Aaron Fox. I think they almost won without De'Aaron Fox. Thanks, Clay. I think that they really do believe, in a weird way, this is the best matchup for the Kings too with their current situation. They're not as familiar with, or they're familiar with the Pelicans. They're not familiar with the winning strategy of the Pelicans. Lakers, for sure, they've swept that season series, but there's still the LeBron AD factor. You don't know what it's going to look like in a gotta-have-it game. They know the Warriors. They know the Warriors like the back of their hand. Mike Brown knows the Warriors like the back of his hand. This is the most comfortable situation that the Kings could have found themselves in. They got to act like it. They got to play like it.
Right. From Mike Brown to Leandro Barbosa all the way down.
Yes, that's a great point.
If you do look at the situation, if you're going to be shorthanded against any of the teams in the play-in, maybe you make the argument the Lakers, but that's LeBron.
Yeah.
That's LeBron. And if you're worried, I don't know, who are you worried about the refs more, playing the Lakers or Warriors?
Lakers.
I would say Lakers, because the Lakers, on top of that,
whistle.
they do try to get the whistle. That's how they're built. They're not going to fling a bunch of threes up like the Warriors. So, and you might have to see them too, because I think the Pelicans are going to beat the Lakers. We'll see. Yeah, as far as X factors go, Chris, and you put a nice nugget in here as far as Kelly Olynyk, and that's from Draper bringing that up. Kelly Olynyk, 26 points off the bench in a game 7. That's something that nobody expected to happen.
Not a single person.
And maybe that person is Trey Lyles today. Maybe that person is Davion. Davion has gotten hot before.
Yeah.
He's at home. He's comfortable. He's cooled off a little bit the last couple of games. Maybe he heats up again. Any of those guys, I don't know.
Keegan.
It could be Keegan.
Yeah.
It could be Keegan, because this is going to be a game played and probably won by the others. Okay. I don't know if you can count Clay as an other at this point in time, but we know what De'Aaron Fox, we know what Steph Curry, we know what they're going to do. Who else is going to step up for both sides?
Yep.
They are going to give up shots to Keon Ellis and the Warriors. We're going to break this down with the Kings insiders in about 2 minutes here. who are the Kings willing to give up? I don't know if it's Kuminga, right? Kuminga really hasn't been shooting the three ball. That's one thing that the Warriors have liked. He's gotten away from the three ball. So who is it that the Kings are going to say, all right, we don't have a choice? Because it can't be Steph. And even though he's sometimes Klay Thompson, I don't think it can be Klay in a game like today. When we return, the Kings Insiders for Sactown Sports. Join us for an hour. Stiles Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Last season, it was the playoffs. This time around, the season is on the line for the Kings and Warriors in the play-in game.
And let me tell you, if you can't sense it, if you can't feel it through the radio, this place is absolutely nuts.
Tonight at 7, the Kings and Warriors meet to see which team keeps their playoff hopes alive. Get all the must-hear action right here on Sactown Sports and your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Jiffy Lube has a special promotion going on right now. Simply purchase a Pennzoil Platinum full synthetic oil change at Jiffy Lube and receive a $25 e-gift card from popular brands for food, gas, and more. It's that easy. Simply purchase a Pennzoil Platinum full synthetic oil change and receive a $25 e-gift card. So basically, going to Jiffy Lube can get you a free lunch or a pizza for dinner. That's what we call added value for the consumer. That's why Jiffy Lube is #1 in the greater Sacramento area for oil changes. Visit jiffylube.com for more details and valuable coupons today.
Chevy saves you $10,000 off MSRP on every new 2024 half-ton Silverado, LT, RST, and LTZ in stock after rebate. Over 50 to choose from.
Exclusive all in-stock pricing at MadeAChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
See deal for details. M43024.
Sponsored by Xfinity. Enjoy the entertainment you love with the Xfinity Stream app. Turn any screen into a TV and take the entertainment you love wherever you go. Xfinity. We connect you to more of what you love.
Kevin Lewis of National Garage Door. Whether you need to repair a broken spring, install the new opener, or buy a quality Rainer door, National Garage Door is here for you. Call us today to see how we can transform your house with a new garage door.
638-4554 National Garage Door.
Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sactown Sports IMAX Pass by visiting SactownSports.com. Sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's films at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
Spring savings continue at Folsom Lake Kia. Low payments, special offers, 0 down deals on approval of credit. Shop your trusted Kia dealership for over 25 years and tell them DC sent you. FolsomLakeKia.com.
Lowe's knows pros need the right tools for every job. That's why we sell the largest in-store selection of Klein tools anywhere. Find new items like the self-leveling green laser level for just $159.98. Plus, shop the Connect pass-through socket set for $49.98, which you can only find at Lowe's. Shop Klein tools in-store and online today because Lowe's knows tools. Lowe's knows pros.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Imagine taking a nice warm bath in your shower. Let's fix that. Right now, get that clogged drain unclogged for just $67. Plumbing, sewer, electric, heating, and air. Bonnie.com. Some restrictions apply. License 696-355.
All guests come to you from the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Sactown Sports.
Call or text at 916-339-1140.
You heard the sound. You know what it is. It's the round table. And it won't be the last. Maybe because we'll have one either way.
An off-season one.
Either way, it won't be the last. Frankie Cardicelli, Brenden Nunez in the building.
On a Tuesday.
On a Tuesday, it's going up. Guys, let's just how you feeling? Not even going to ask a question. Just you woke up this morning and you looked yourself in the mirror and you said, I feel like the Kings are going to blank.
I'll just say like the feeling I have is hopeful. I think I'm hopeful. I think the fact that pulled up, I mean, you guys have already talked about them, but those winner take all
people
games.
were coming down your road about that.
A little bit, but it's like I have nothing to do with that. That's the facts, man. They've lost every winner take all the game that they've played in. But you know what? The good news is they're going to get one at some point. Will it be today? I hope so. And at some point they will get one. Why not today is kind of where I'm at. I'm at that the numbers go in their direction, and also the winning percentage in those winner take all games for franchise history, which is 6-12. That's a 333 winning percentage. 3 happens to be my favorite number. So that makes me feel a little better. I'm a little, superstitious about that. I think the 333 might come in handy, but I really do feel like it could go any way. And the Kings, if they have their guys working, De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, some other guys step up, anything can happen.
The Kings are going to play a basketball game today. That's
facts.
That's what I got really for you. I'm excited. I think that it's going to be a very entertaining game. And that's really as far as I get here because I think anything can happen. Frank and I are talking. There's a matchup where Kuminga scores 30 points this year. There's a game where Harrison Barnes scores 39. I'm not betting on either one of those, but anything can happen in one game. Keon could mess around and hit 6 threes tonight. It's so hard to predict what would happen. I think there are a few key things to watch for, but it's really unpredictable in one game.
I've been saying this, guys, and honestly, it's just from the highlights and when the Kings don't play and just the feeling that I've gotten from Dub Nation and all that jazz. Trayce Jackson-Davis, he worries me for Domas on really both ends. He can jump a little bit. He does more offensively than Looney, which isn't hard to do. No disrespect whatsoever. And then defensively, he is a leaper, so maybe Domas can get him in the air a little bit. But as far as not going for those pump fakes, I do think that, and getting the playbook from Kevon Looney, it does worry me simply because I know how important Sabonis is to this team. What are your thoughts on that? Chris isn't as worried as I am, but just wanted to get your thoughts on that matchup. Obviously, they switch everything. Draymond will be on Sabonis at some point too, but that new wrinkle, there's wrinkles that we'll talk about on the Kings side that the Warriors haven't seen, but the Kings have not seen this iteration of this new and improved Warriors team, if you will.
There were a couple stretches, I think, in the play-in game or the in-season tournament game where we saw Trayce Jackson-Davis matchup against Sabonis, and even in Golden State in January. And that was a game, which is funny enough, the last game that Kevon Looney started for the Warriors was January 25th against the Kings. So since then he's been off the bench, but I think the Kings will definitely kind of try and see what they have there in that matchup and see if Domantas Sabonis can get to the basket where he's most effective. Obviously, we've seen him struggle with that mid-range shot. And I do feel like maybe it's him getting ready for the postseason, but against Phoenix and against Portland, we saw him take more of those mid-range shots. I think that the Warriors are for sure going to let him take that shot. Trayce Jackson-Davis, I can't imagine he's going to close that very much on a 15-footer from Sabonis. So if he can find his offense early, I wonder what Golden State will do. Will they call on Kevon Looney to go out there? If Sabonis has 8 quick points in the first quarter and the Kings are on a run, do they just throw Kevon Looney out there? But I do feel like if it's not there early, it doesn't necessarily mean that the night's a wash. I think Sabonis has shown that he's streaky. I think against the Suns, he had 10 points in the third quarter after starting off the game slow. So just because it's not working early doesn't mean it's going to be a complete wash. But I do think that as far as pressure goes, and I wouldn't imagine he would ever admit he feels it or he's even feeling it, maybe not. But from an outside standpoint, I think most of the pressure on tonight's game is on Domantas Sabonis. When you look at the fact that a huge narrative and a huge talking point from last year's playoff series was that Sabonis got taken out of his comfort zone, out of his game. He was out-rebounded by Kevon Looney. The shot, I think he was 12% below his field goal percentage. So he's a guy the Kings are really truthfully going to need if they want to beat the Warriors. He has to be at his best, and obviously this is a great chance for him to change that narrative.
I'm curious, too. I feel like a lot of people are bringing up the mid-range game that Sabonis hasn't really shown a ton of throughout his time in Sacramento, but obviously it was a really big highlight in last year's playoffs. Do you guys feel like that's something he has to hit? Is that maybe something that you guys feel like is a bit overblown because his game is a little bit more post-centric or around the rim-centric? How do you feel about Sabonis's spacing? And is it, in your opinion, something that truly needs to get addressed, or is it something that became a little bit overblown last year because people didn't hit shots?
I would definitely go with the latter. I mean, I think that if Kevin's hitting more shots, if De'Aaron doesn't get hurt, like I was looking back at that, De'Aaron shot 9 threes a game in that 7-game series.
He was the best three-point shooter.
And I think it was like 33% or so. He's taken a big leap there. I think that could play a big factor tonight, but I don't know. I think that I'm at the point where I wish I would have seen it earlier with Domas. If not earlier, then why now is kind of where I'm at with that. And I think that's almost playing into their hands.
Right.
I wouldn't want to live and die by Domas mid-ranges. And I'm not saying that there's any world where he goes out and takes a bunch of them, but even like 4 on the night, do I feel great about? I don't really know. If that's what is there, I guess, but I think that I'd rather live with tough shots from De'Aaron Fox and just trying to hit the paint and spray out to shooters. I think catch and shoot threes, and Domas is a really big part of creating those, are going to be bigger than maybe Domas trying to go and get his own.
I think that's the problem, though. I don't know that anybody wants to see Domas taking middies. I think we just feel that it's going to come to that because of A, how the Warriors typically play him, and B, none of us really being convinced that Domas's bag is going to work tonight. Honestly, his bag hasn't really worked the last 5 games or so here with some of the bigs that he's gone up against. So I think that worries me. He did pretty well against Nurkic, if I'm thinking off the top of my head. But it's been a bit hit or miss with the pump fakes, and part of that I think is not having Kevin Huerter and Malik Monk. So a guy who's already somewhat limited offensively is now even more limited. So I think it's just us assuming that he's not going to have a choice.
Yeah, and I think that like the Trace Jackson Davis is a guy that I would expect to do a good job, but he's a rookie. And this is the first time being in a high pressure situation like this. The Kings have the same question about Keon Ellis. I think that both sides are probably pretty optimistic about what those guys are going to give them, but you don't know if anybody's going to shrink in the moment. These first 6 minutes, Trace Jackson Davis could pick up 2 quick fouls, and then maybe you're going to Looney, and sure, Looney has done great against Domas, but Golden State's really found a rhythm since they've gone to Trace Jackson Davis. So I'm not sure that Trace Jackson is going to be a great option on Domas. I think that he probably will be, but I definitely don't think that's just a for sure thing in a rookie playing in his first big leverage postseason game like this.
Yeah, I'm looking here, and I think Chris, you mentioned it, or maybe it was you, Brenden. But yeah, Kuminga 31 points in a loss. Kuminga now coming off of a couple different injuries. Didn't score a bucket in the last game, but he had a bunch of assists. He wanted to be Rajon Rondo or something like that. He's a guy who athletically the Kings don't have an answer for. So hopefully if he gets off like that again, the Kings were able to win, but they had, at the time, the Kings had Malik Monk. That's a guy, when you talk about X factors, you really hope he doesn't find his stride after he hasn't had it due to injuries and things like that. That's a guy that you hope kind of stays a bit dormant tonight because the Kings truly don't have anybody for him.
Yeah, and that's something I think that Draymond talked about on his podcast a little bit, that he's like an X factor for them, and the Kings.
Oh gosh,
the Kings
podcast.
Well, I mean, Brenden and I were talking about that a little bit.
Probably live from the Sawyer.
Oh my god,
probably live from the Sawyer, and maybe
on the bench. He's gonna be doing it on the bench.
Maybe it's some gamesmanship, or maybe it's him trying to gas up his teammate and get him ready for a big game. But we've already seen Jonathan Kuminga at his best. He had a season high 31 points. It might be a career high, I'm not sure, but 31 point season high against the Kings in January. And the Kings, even with Stephen Curry scoring 30-plus points, he survived that game. Also, a night that Malik Monk was really not affected.
I'm looking here. He had 4 points, Malik.
Three turnovers.
3 turnovers, 3 personal fouls. He was a -11. He had 4 points and only 3 assists, and the Kings won.
They did, and it took a late push and obviously a huge night from Harrison Barnes, and maybe you feel better if those 39 points are spread around to other players. But Kuminga definitely is a guy that we saw a little bit in the postseason. His minutes did fluctuate, but there were some times where he'd come out and he'd provide that Warriors team with a lot of energy. Because again, like you said, there is no clear answer on the Kings bench or in the Kings starting 5 athletically. But I do feel like if he's not able to get into the paint, it's very hard for him to score. He's not a great shooter. He's not going to hurt you as much on the perimeter unless he, again, the scary part about a 1-game situation is if he does get going from 3, that'd be very unfortunate, but he's someone that's going to attack the paint. So if they can seal him off from that area, he can't hurt you as much. But the Warriors are a team that really rely on 3-point shooting. So I feel like, to me, Kuminga is not really as much as a priority as not letting other guys like Pods and Andrew Wiggins and other guys that usually wouldn't have massive games get going from 3.
How big do you guys think the Kings winning that forwards matchup is, just between HB, Keegan, and Trey versus Wiggins, Draymond, and Kuminga? Do we think that the Kings can win if they don't, at the very least, equal what those guys bring?
mean, I still think it does kind of come down to the stars. For sure, a role player could get rolling. You know, I always go back to Kelly Olynyk scoring 27 in a game 7.
We're going to talk about it.
Anything could happen.
Kevin Huerter in a game 7.
Absolutely. You know, these guys can get rolling, but I think it comes down to the stars kind of setting those guys up more than anything. So defensively, I think they're going to play a bigger factor than maybe they would offensively. But for the Kings, like, I think you can survive if you don't get great nights from those forwards. If De'Aaron plays great and some of these other guards, Keon and Davion, sort of manage to step up, you could throw Domas in there as well. So I don't feel like there's a heavy reliance on them on the offensive end, but defensively, I do think there is, specifically from Golden State's standpoint. And for the Kings, it's take your shots when you're open and hope they go down.
We've seen them get hot. It's just about when they get hot. The offensive efficiency and the offensive ratings, it's all there. Same with the defense, but it's the timing. If you're out of this world in the first half and you come back to earth in the second, sometimes, well, not just sometimes, it has not been enough lately. We get the guys' thoughts on Jordy Fernandez moving forward when we return. Stiles and Watkins and the Sactown Sports Kings Insiders.
A year ago, Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors ended the Sacramento Kings season. Tuesday, the Sacramento Kings have a chance at revenge in the play-in game. Join Sactown Sports for complete coverage on air and online with guests, previews, and predictions for the win-or-go-home Northern California battle. Kings and Warriors, Tuesday at 7 on your home of the Kings. Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com.
It's Coach Doug Christie here to remind you, if you want a deal that's a slam dunk, go see the winning team at Folsom Lake Ford. Folsom Lake Ford is your truck headquarters with all your American-made favorites, like America's best-selling F-Series, F-150s, and Super Duties, or spacious new Explorers and Expeditions, plus a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports, all in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford. In the Folsom Auto Mall, you can buy any new Ford with zero down on approved credit, save big with low interest finance rates, and Folsom Lake Ford always pays top dollar for your trade. Check out the huge selection of inventory online at FolsomLakeFord.com or stop by the dealership to see their most recent arrivals. Looking for something special? Give them a call and tell them Doug Christie sent you. They'll help you out. Hurry to Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, your trusted dealer, my trusted dealer for over 35 years and counting.
At Ashton & Price, over the last 25 years, we've won just about every injury case you can think of. Slip and fall, falling merchandise, fell through rotted decking, we won those. Dangerous stairs, falls into holes, dog bites, won them. Injured while pedestrian or on a bicycle, auto, motorcycle, big rig, company vehicle, Uber, or Lyft accident, we've won them all. And the best news is there's no fee until you win. So no matter how you got injured,
remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
So here's a fact. 85% of the population will suffer from foot pain in their lifetime. That's almost everyone. So you'd think there'd be plenty of healthy long-term remedies, but there just aren't, right? Hi, I'm Dan from the Good Feet store. You know, people come in all the time sharing the same frustrating story. Bought this, tried that, been there, done whatever, all different kinds of things, but all with a similar result. Nothing. A discouraging and endless cycle of disappointment. If this rings a bell, don't despair. There is hope. If you think you've tried everything, you probably haven't tried Good Feet arch supports from the Good Feet store. They're designed to relieve, even eliminate, the pain commonly caused by certain foot conditions like plantar fasciitis, bunions, flat feet, and others. Plus, provide better balance and increased comfort. See what we can do for you with a free arch support fitting. Just stop in or schedule an appointment. With over 200 stores, there's likely one in your neck of the woods. Find yours at goodfeet.com.
Everybody needs Good Feet.
Increase leads and get more customers. We create tailored digital marketing strategies that deliver results. On your next campaign, aim higher. Go to aimyourdigital.com and get started today. aimyourdigital.com.
Sactown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sactown Sports and subscribe.
It has been announced that Jordy Fernandez, fast rising coaching candidate the past 2 years, will be the next coach of the Brooklyn Nets. He was the head of the defense for the Kings, and he now heads to Brooklyn to start something fresh and something that he can call his own. And it's probably, for all intents and purposes, a little overdue, and that has been to the fortune of the Kings, but that fortune is now ended. And guys, I want to kind of give you the floor, who have been out here and seeing Jordy do some things for the Kings and have a lot of deep thoughts on it. Let's start with you, Frankie. What were your initial thoughts when you saw it come through?
I think it's just kind of like, it was inevitable, right? I mean, we all knew this was going to happen. I thought maybe it would happen a little after the season ended, but you have to strike while the iron's hot, and Brooklyn had an opening, and I think that's a very good situation for Jordy to go into versus, no offense to Charlotte or other areas, but I think that Brooklyn's a much more enticing head coaching opportunity, and I think you'll have the resources there to be successful. And I think as far as for Jordy individually, it's massive for a guy who really is kind of climbing that coaching like hierarchy chart. Like, he's already coaching the Canadian national team. They're gonna have a great roster in this summer's Olympics, so being able to carry over that potential success into an NBA head coaching job will be big for him. But it's going to leave a really big hole in the Kings bench. Like, it's going to be a big talking point this offseason, I think. Do they promote from within? Do they go and try to find someone that's out on the coaching market? Because Jordy's been huge for this team's defensive turnaround. That the things he's put into place for this group and how he's worked with the guys has really been noteworthy. I know that Brenden and I got to be around him for Summer League a few summers ago, and just a great guy to be around, and no one more deserving of it in the NBA.
He is very well liked, and you see it pregame. He's always chopping it up with some guys from the other team, the other organization. Probably only Alvin Gentry seems to be talking to more people and more friendly with more people, which says something about the personality that Jordy is. And on the basketball side, we've seen him lead that summer league team. I think it's the second time he's coached a summer league team. He has a very good relationship with Mike Brown, obviously kind of being the one that brought him over from overseas, initially coaching his son, brought him on while he was working with the Cavs, and Jordy's continued to elevate defensive coordinator with the Nuggets before the Kings, and that team really turned around their defense the same way we've seen the Kings kind of turn around their defense. So glad that he's getting an opportunity in Brooklyn. I think it's well-deserved, and from Sacramento's perspective, it's probably the biggest compliment that you can get is internal, just some of your assistants getting promoted to other spots. It makes it more encouraging for, I've heard the name Mike Budenholzer thrown around as like a potential replacement, just kind of theorizing, right? But it probably makes it a little more intriguing for Budenholzer. You're like, oh, I saw somebody else get promoted from that spot, So Mike has a big Rolodex of guys. He's well liked just the same way Jordy is. Happy for Jordy, and we'll see what a potential replacement looks like. It also could just be Laux moving to the front of the bench and Jay Triano moving up a spot.
Did Budenholzer and Mike Brown coach under Pop together in San Antonio?
Sure, I believe so.
That would make sense. Yeah,
I believe so.
Yeah. Pop has like an extensive coaching tree at this point. Like, he really does have quite a roster. And, maybe Mike Brown's starting to get a roster together of his own, a coaching tree, because Jordy's a guy that's, I think, going to have success in this league. And like Brenden said, very well liked. But I do wonder if it's going to be a matter of moving Luke Laux up, or Doug Christie, or is Lindsey Harding someone that they want to put back in?
Or who goes with Jordy?
Yeah, who goes with Jordy?
That's
a question. That's a question I have not really
considered. Yeah, I've really thought about that.
Doug, as a defensive-minded guy, that'd be pretty brutal if he left for Brooklyn.
I can't imagine. I think Doug wants to keep it.
Doug and Laux feel pretty safe to me.
Okay.
Laux very close with De'Aaron.
Triano could be interesting. I mean, a guy that coached in the East Coast a lot. I'm not sure where he's from, but people were throwing out Lindsey Harding, and I feel like she might want to. Like, she would probably rather stay in a head coaching situation and in the G League, or would she want to come back and be a part of Mike Brown's staff? Because she already was on that bench, I think, a year ago. So would that be more enticing to be moved up a spot on an NBA bench, or to continue having her success in the G League? Because I think that no matter where she is, she's going to have success too.
Just for somebody that hears the words defensive coordinator and the defense, I mean, from Mike Brown, who was the defensive coordinator with the Warriors, to come over here, and then the defense kind of being the issue for the Kings. And then all of a sudden you get Keon Ellis, you lose Malik Monk, you lose Kevin Huerter, and the defense has been outstanding. I mean, top 5 this stretch of games. How much of it is game plan? We've asked this all season long. How much of it is game plan versus just the ingredients that you have when you add a Keon Ellis. Oh, now the defense is better.
I think it's a little bit of both. I think that for sure the Kings, when you look at the personnel that they've put out there and plugged in for big minutes, again, last year, Keon Ellis was not, or the beginning of this year even, Keon Ellis was not seeing the floor too much. Davion Mitchell was out of the rotation for a while, and we were even questioning his future in the NBA. It's kind of crazy how far he's come over the final 40 games. But putting those guys out there, just the Kings haven't had that kind of impact from even more than one of their players making the rotation. Like, I don't know, going through last year's 1 through 8. I mean, Davion was their best defender, but De'Aaron Fox wasn't as locked in as he was this year. I think this was a big year for him taking a leap forward and throwing out 3 guys. Now, 4 guys, if you include Keegan, who's been a very good defender, maybe their best on-ball defender. You have Davion, Keegan, Keon, and De'Aaron all playing 20+, some case 30+ minutes. That's, to me, a huge reason why this Kings team has turned around on the defensive end. They both kind of back into tonight's game, the Kings and Warriors have both been top 10 defenses since the All-Star break. They're 7th and 8th. So I think Jordy's been a huge part of that. And again, the new personnel or the new guys in the rotation have been a big part of that as well.
I think the best guy last year might have been KZ Okpala, which says something.
That's a Kings trivia, by the way. Who started?
Low shout out.
Started before Keegan for
4 games.
4 games.
Lost the first 4, and then they changed that up pretty quick.
That was very strange.
Changed it up quick. But I think the fact that their defense has turned around after the change in personnel does make me think it was more that they needed to get better talent out there, guys that just excel more on that end of the floor, whether that's De'Aaron being more disruptive and making that a goal to get 2 steals a game. He ends up leading the league in steals. I think he gets a little plaque for it or something like that. I think you get something.
Yeah, you get something for leading the
Domas
league.
got something for leading the league in rebounds last year. They might both get presented
2
with
in
an
a row,
award tonight, actually, now that I'm thinking about it out loud. But that growth, Keon's disruptiveness, where we've seen Keegan take a step. I asked him pretty plainly a couple weeks ago, what'd you learn last postseason that you're trying to clean up now before this coming one? And he said, not being the Mickey. And the Mickey is the term that they use for the weakest defender on the floor. I'm assuming Mouse in the House, Mickey Mouse is kind of where we're going with that. And
I wish someone would call me that.
He said he does not want to be the Mickey. He does not want to be the guy that's targeted. And I think that he's very much past that point. We'll still see. It's Steph Curry, but he said before that's kind of where he got his defensive confidence earlier this year. So definitely a change in personnel, which I think is credit to Jordy. And I think you saw pretty much the same thing happen when he was in Denver.
Yeah, bringing it on around. I don't know why I said that like SpongeBob. Bringing it back, guys. Bringing it back to the game tonight and the defense. And we played some of the sound from after the shoot around as far as Mike Brown talking about the physicality. Are you worried at all? And I'm not going tinfoil hat here, but I am asking, are you worried about how this game will be officiated? Because if they don't let them play, because Mike talked about how, hey, Knicks were getting touch fouls. We weren't. That's just what it was. Are you worried about the Kings trying to set the tone, and now Keon's got 2 quick ones? That's a huge worry for me. How much we had Draper on the post game saying that they're letting the boys play too much, right? I am worried about I'm worried about the consistency. I'm worried, I guess, more about consistency than I am in, okay, they're calling it soft today or they're calling it tough.
Like, you're worried about the Kings been playing a physical style of basketball, and like now it's going to be completely different. Kind of like you're warming up to taking a bat and you have the bat weight on the donut on, and then you throw it off and it's going to be completely different. Yeah. I do think that it's going to be something that we'll get a read on pretty early. Like, again, if you do see those calls that were not there against Phoenix and those other tough games the Kings have played, obviously they're going to have to adjust, because I think that the Kings would probably rather not tap into the bench and have to throw out. Chris Duarte's been pretty tough on the defensive end more times than not lately. He's really picked up a couple of quick fouls as well. You don't want to be in a situation where you're calling on guys that don't have that experience that you need. So I'm not necessarily worried that's going to be a huge impact to tonight's game. I think the Kings have been fairly disciplined. I can't even remember off the top of my head how many guys have fouled out in recent memory. Like, they're really
just a bonus, yeah.
And I think he's even had a better year than that for a guy who led the league in fouls last year. He's really done a good job of staying vertical on those verticalities and not picking up those ticky-tack fouls. So I'm not worried about it. I think that it's going to be a physical game regardless. I do think we're going to see a couple things not get called, but I don't want to go into a game preparing to be, angry or upset about the officiating, even though that's always a risk with the Kings, obviously.
I think there are 3 Kings players I really do look at for some of the foul stuff, but I think it's more them than the officiating. Like, I think the physicality change we've seen after the postseason is going to stay, or after the deadline is going to stay in this postseason and maybe even be allowed a bit more. But I think that Keon, for sure, he's just a very handsy defender. He averages 4 per 36 fouls. And it's Steph. You're going to be trying to get around the screens. Your hand gets caught in there and ends up hitting him. That's a foul. You know, you can pick up quick fouls. And Keon's going to be an important aspect. I'd imagine he starts on Steph. Maybe they go Keegan, but I'd imagine that it goes Keon. Worry about him a little bit. Domas with moving screens can be a little tough, or some of these elbows.
Right.
How
He
much
got
is
caught with
Draymond going to be?
I think the other day.
Has
right?
that been? That's been like recently though.
Yeah,
Hasn't
very
it?
recently.
I think the three of us talked about it during the game against Phoenix. Like those are screens you see around the NBA
every day,
all year long. And I know
if they're calling it on Domas, they better call it on Draymond.
But that's because Looney ain't playing, and normally he's a guy who's going to give the moving screens. But again, and this kind of ties into it too. I'm glad you went there, Frankie. That's why you're the best in the biz.
Okay.
This goes into for me. This goes into for me the idea of the Kings playing with more integrity than other teams as far as the flopping or making sure things get called. They don't do it. Meanwhile, you got Devin Booker doing the stop, drop, and roll on these screens. That's a problem for me. The Kings, they don't flop.
They don't. I mean, I don't think they flop. I think people have. I mean, obviously, we're coming at it from we watch a lot of Sacramento Kings basketball. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people on the outside have ideas about De'Aaron Fox, how he kind of throws his head back on those drives to the basket.
There's no way.
I don't personally see it that way, but that is a huge gripe
compared to other
fans.
guys in the league.
Not compared to the worst merchants out there.
Brenden.
Shoulder.
Brenden. He is maybe middle of the pack, Brenden.
Which is fine.
I think it's SGA level.
I think middle of the pack is fine.
Brenden,
he could get
we'll
more
get
whistles.
into this when we return.
Unbiased.
Also, who will be the X factor? We get the guys' thoughts on that. Your calls, your texts, your Sack Chat. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
All that, I really threw you to the ground like that, JJ.
They had never been in the playoffs in the same season, let alone play one another in a playoff series. That all changed last year in a first-round 7-game classic. Now, the rivalry continues Tuesday night in the 9 versus 10 play-in game. Winner moves on. Loser goes home. Kings, Warriors, Tuesday night at 7 on your home of the Kings, Sactown Sports.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there.
Covenant House helped me break the cycle of homelessness in my family. They gave me the love that I needed.
Over 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed tonight. When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges and have a brighter future.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding. I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
If you or someone you love is asking for help, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
For a precision-crafted performance, the decision is easy. A new Acura from Acura of Stockton. Get the driving experience you've been waiting for in a new Acura. Get the best selection and customer service you deserve from Acura of Stockton. Shop in person or use our online express store at AcuraofStockton.com. Acura of Stockton will buy your trade, even if you don't buy from us. Don't settle for less than precision-crafted performance of a new Acura from Acura of Stockton and AcuraofStockton.com.
Celebrate Sacramento Rivercats baseball during our 25th anniversary season. Pick your favorite weekly promotion, giveaway game, or theme night, and join the fun at Sutter Health Park. Stick around post-game every Friday and Saturday night as we light up the sky with the brightest fireworks in town. For a full promotion schedule and to buy tickets, visit rivercats.com. We'll see you there.
You can host the best backyard barbecue. When you find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
Whether you own a local business or a global one,
You're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter. Locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America NA.
Not to brag, but Progressive's Name Your Price tool is mankind's greatest tool ever. Even better than the wheel. Sure, without the wheel, we wouldn't have modern transportation or funny videos of dogs riding skateboards. But without the Name Your Price tool, we wouldn't have easy access to auto insurance options based on our budget. And, well, cars do need wheels. They also need insurance, and insurance never goes flat. Learn more about the greatest tool ever. The Name Your Price tool at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
I love a beautiful lawn. I hate doing lawn care. That's why I use True Green. They're the official lawn care treatment provider of the PGA Tour. And we all know those are some nice greens. So just imagine what they can do for your lawn. All you have to do is water and mow. And to top it off, when you sign up for an annual plan by April 20th, get one application free. Visit truegreen.com for the best lawn at the best price, guaranteed. Restrictions apply.
Welcome to the Tap House Restaurant at Bartley Cavanaugh Golf Course. With an array of local craft brews from a selection of 20 taps, the Tap House menu boasts freshly made sandwiches, crisp salads, and a variety of specialty entrees. The Tap House is the perfect place for a round after your round at Bartley Cavanaugh Golf Course, especially during happy hour from 3 to 6 daily. Drop by the Tap House Restaurant for scenic views, exquisite food, and a hearty welcome. The Tap House at Bartley Cavanaugh Golf Course.
Contact Tax Relief Helpers for details and restrictions. Attention anyone that owes money to the IRS. The IRS has restarted aggressive enforcement actions against taxpayers who owe back taxes that were temporarily suspended for COVID. If you owe $10,000 or more, you must hear this because now is the time to clear your IRS tax debt. A special toll-free number has been established so you can stop penalty fees, avoid liens, levies, and other hostile measures by the IRS. Call Tax Relief Helpers right now at 800-934-9217. Tax Relief Helpers will provide you with the maximum protection afforded by law.
I got behind on my taxes and owed $48,000. I didn't know what to do. I called and they got my bill lowered to just $3,500.
I owed $87,000 in taxes and it was scary. I got the amount I owed down to just $3,500. I saved $83,500.
If you owe money to the IRS, don't wait another day. Call 800-934-9217 right now before the IRS enforces liens, levies, and other aggressive measures. The call and consult are absolutely free. Call now. Call 800-934-9217. 800-934-9217. 800-934-9217.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, KHTK-AM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento, the only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Sactown Sports. Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sactown Sports.
Stiles and Watkins, one more hour with you. We have 30 more minutes with the Sactown Sports Kings insiders, Brenden Nunez and Frankie Cardicelli. You know the roundtable vibes.
Do we?
You hear the harp. Is that a harp? Simone confirms.
Yes.
That's a harp. That's a harp in there, and they're showing clips and scenes on the 4-letter network. Feel the Roar shirts. It will be a whiteout.
Yes. The Kings are wearing white at home. I don't know.
Did they do that? Did they do that for Game 7?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say
they wore the black jerseys.
No, well,
the crowd.
They did, yeah. The crowd was white though, and they did the UV light to make all the shirts glow as purple.
But do you remember back when NBA teams wore white jerseys at home? And
I loved it.
The good old days.
Remember when?
I honestly,
back in my day,
I like
drives
that.
me crazy.
Do you like it better that way?
Yes. The old way? No, I like it better the old way.
Okay.
Where it's yes.
I like it the old way.
Yes.
Like how you like it. Yes. Hey,
get off my lawn.
When the home team would wear white,
without getting
wrong team
without
would wear black.
Without getting too in depth, do we like that move? Do we like the move that they're going with the white jerseys? Does it matter? I know it doesn't matter, but do we like the move? What do you mean?
But do we like the move?
Do we want it it to be.
Do we want to go down in
We need to
white
look up their
jerseys?
record in white jerseys.
There is
That
a way.
can easily
I
be
know
done.
there's a Twitter
Yes,
account.
there is.
It's
I will
King.
check it right now.
Yes, that's what I'm wondering. Like, that's all about the vibes, man.
That's a good point. Let's see here.
Real quick, while Chris
While
is
I'm
doing
doing the
some
important work,
in-depth
right, yeah.
This is
breaking
in-depth.
down here, what are your thoughts on the breakdown as far as how many Warrior fans will be there versus Kings fans?
I know that Dave was very down on it last night. He was like, "Oh, it's getting taken over." I'm a little skeptical. I think game one it was like 99% Kings and maybe 1% Warriors. I think tonight would be more like 80-20. I think there'll be some Warriors fans and you'll hear them a little bit, but I'd be surprised if it was a 60-40 or even like we've seen before on really bad nights, like 50-50, which sadly has happened before.
Yes.
I'm not expecting anything that drastic, but I do think there'll be a little more in the house than there were for game one, because game one was just like a very special situation. This is essentially like a game 83. So I think that maybe a couple Warriors fans squeak in, but I'm not expecting that much.
Clicks. It's so affordable, though.
Yeah.
There's going to be way more Dubs fans here,
So wait,
unfortunately.
You think 60-40?
No,
Yeah, I do.
60-40 is extreme.
Last playoffs
I
was
think so.
expensive too, and people thought that would help the Warriors fans, and it didn't.
Yeah.
Right.
I think the
game
Warriors.
one was
So I'm saying
98.
if it is affordable, it becomes more accessible of like, I feel like people will come from the Bay Area. Not to say that
tickets are very expensive.
The one thing I would say is the thing about the round one, the first round last year, there was a week buildup. There was a whole week buildup.
Sure.
I think there was the season ended on Sunday. The game one was on Saturday,
Right,
or
because
on
there
Friday.
were those playing
Yeah.
games happening.
This was a 1 day turnaround. So I think a lot of people planning goes into it. I think that might help the Kings a little bit as
Yeah.
far as
I can't go higher than 70-30. I refuse.
I'm drawing a line there as well.
Yeah.
I
But that's a lot. That is
It is, and
lot
you're
of
gonna
people.
hear
Like,
them.
don't get it twisted. 30%
I'll
of the
tell you this
crowd
right now.
It is a
lot of the
Tuesday.
crowd.
Some kid yesterday, he's playing catch. First of all,
Uh-oh.
Alan's looking at some park.
No,
Just
no,
mad as hell.
no, it's
Sorry,
not
this old man
because we
take
just
gonna
put the
be-
baby down, and this kid is playing catch. You have all day to play catch. It's
All
8
day.
p.m. It's almost dark. They're long days. Him and his buddy, I don't know if they're brothers. I don't know what the deal is. I've never seen these kids before. They're playing catch. This kid has a Warriors hoodie on.
Oh, get him
and
out.
I looked
Yeah.
at my wife. I said, "Why are they playing catch this late?" She said, "I don't know. I mean, they're kids." I said, "But why are they playing catch in the driveway?" And what do? About 5 minutes later, the alarm starts going off. Baby wakes up and they go scurrying away. They run away. These Warrior fans, they're ruining everything.
Dude, they know that Alan Stiles is living inside
The
their
Kings,
house.
getting in your head.
if he had on a Kings jersey, he would have played
Right.
catch earlier when you can actually see the ball to get
Right.
better, and he would have went to a park like
Probably
a
would
normal
have
kid.
rang your doorbell and asked if it's okay.
Can I please
Right.
play catch, sir? And I
Right.
would say, thank you for
Well,
asking,
is
son.
there a park near
Well,
your
thanks,
house?
young
It's
whippersnapper.
right there.
Didn't the Niners get like a fire alarm pulled in the middle of their playoff series
Yeah,
or something?
that's what I'm saying. They're
Yeah.
trying to mess with my head, man.
Yeah.
They're trying to mess with my head.
Wait,
But he's plowed through.
did you find the jersey?
I
numbers?
sure did. Of course I did.
Yes.
Thank you for focusing on what's
Yes,
important here,
I
Frankie.
care about you.
Thank you. The Kings are 15-10 this season when wearing their whites. 2-1 at home, 1-1 this season against the Warriors. They split the game and they wore them the whites.
In Golden State on January 25th, right?
Yes, January 25th. The Kings won that game by 1. I believe that was a Malik Monk game winner,
Mhm.
and then they also hit it when wore it when Clay hit the game winner.
Oh,
So
okay.
500 on the season when wearing the whites, for what it's worth.
And only this is
60-40,
going to be
I'm
the
telling
fourth
you
home
guys.
game.
What's that?
Fourth home game in the white.
Yes,
So 2-1.
Yep, 2-1 on home. They've worn it, Frank. To our previous conversation, they are 13-9 when wearing them on the road. So they have only worn. This will be the 4th time they've worn the whites at home. They've already worn it 22 times on the road.
It's interesting. It's a playoffs. I think back in like the old days, it was a whiteout, like at
Like the
Arco.
good old days.
Yeah, when they wore white jerseys
Yeah,
at home.
see?
When kids would ask to play catch first.
Thank you. X Factor talk. Let's go. And this could be your dog, or I guess dog is a little bit different than X Factor because
Right.
De'Aaron could still be your dog, and maybe Davion is the X Factor. So we'll go around the room. I'll start here with my X Factor, and I've been saying it. I said it yesterday on KCRA as well. Davion Mitchell. It's got to be Davion to me.
I have
anybody?
2, and that was one of them. So I'll let you take that one and also throw Keon Ellis in there. I think both these guys are going to be really big defensively on Steph, and they have to be able to do enough offensively to warrant those minutes to make their impact on the other end. So I think that Davion's progress as a 3-point shooter could make a big difference in this one. And I'll go Davion and I like Keon too.
I'm looking at an HB legacy game.
Okay,
HB
finally.
legacy game.
Let's go.
Career night.
We saw him do it already. That was an insane night for us for a lot of reasons. But I think it's that man right there.
This is who we need.
Harrison Barnes. This is a moment for him to kind of like get his revenge for last year. He had his chance in game 4. The Kings, all seriousness, if he's knocking down threes and he's getting downhill and getting into the paint, we talk about it so much, Chris. For 5 years, we talked about how when he plays well, the Kings play well. The numbers back it up. He is one of the best Kings that are currently healthy. Malik Monk's another one that can get to the paint and draw fouls. HB can draw fouls. He's big. He's strong. He can be a problem for other opposing defenses. And then my other person I'm just going to throw in there is Domantas Sabonis. We've talked about him already, but a big game from him. Both those guys, the narratives about them and the Warriors from last year are very loud. They can quiet those tonight.
I'm going to go Keegan Murray as my X factor. I think if Keegan scores 20 points, I just think that helps the Kings' chances so much. And then, on the defensive end, if he can steal some minutes guarding Steph, that's definitely huge. And I'll just parrot what Brendan said too. I think Davion, absolutely massive. Of course, him hitting shots. If he can hit 3 triples tonight, I think that's huge. But also, the big talking point from last year in the playoffs, Davion Mitchell on Steph. In game 7, Mike Brown decided to take him off of Steph, play Terrence Davis. A lot of people blame that for the reason why the Kings lost that game. It's, of course, a lot more than that. But in the game, you take him off of Steph drops 50. What's Davion going to do what did he learn last year? How is he going to improve? I think he was on Deuce and Mo this summer talking about how, it was a really big learning experience for him to guard Steph for those games. And now is much like everybody else, it's a great opportunity to tangibly show what did you learn over this calendar year? Because it has been a year since you last faced this very same opponent. It's probably going to be just as tough as it was last year, maybe even tougher. What have you learned? I think is going to be huge for Davion.
Something we haven't talked about in a while because we just moved towards playoff mode. But the fact that, and I know we'll talk about it on the other side as far as the Malik Monk drama, whether or not he's getting passed up by Naz Reid. But you have De'Aaron Fox, who got snubbed, I'd say to a lesser degree, All-Star game. And then you have Domantas Sabonis, who clearly got snubbed for the All-Star game. And one thing that we spent so much time talking about during the regular season that we don't talk about now is the fact that you play in Sacramento, the brands aren't as strong as in some of the bigger markets. And in a game like today where, look, the chips are stacked against you, you're probably not going all the way this season anyway. We talk about just tiny victories and consolation prizes, but good ones. The obvious thing is, and you talked about Sabonis. Yeah, Sabonis having a great game. How about De'Aaron Fox, too? I know that's the obvious pick, which is what we weren't doing with X Factor. But as far as De'Aaron, he went off in the first game against the Warriors.
38 points.
And
second most
they
in any
lost.
debut.
I think 22 in the 4th.
Yeah, he went off, and he almost got into I'm just chucking it mode, but they didn't get it done. What about De'Aaron in a game with somebody that you're signed to his shoes? He said he wanted to whoop that bleep in his shoes, right? That's what De'Aaron said when he did that interview with Steph Curry. This could really move the needle in terms of just the national, I don't know how much he cares, but whether he cares or not, this could really move the needle in terms of just the national perception of this duo. If Sabonis has a good game and De'Aaron has a good game, even if they lose on Friday because of who they beat.
Yeah, I mean, again, a role player could have a huge night and change everything, but more likely than not, this is going to come down to the stars. And how good does De'Aaron play in Domas? Malik Monk said at shoot around today that he thinks that slowing down Steph and Clay and making the other guys beat you will be big from Sacramento's side. So I'd imagine that both teams feel pretty similar. It's how much are you going to be able to force the issue and follow the game plan? They're going to make you a little uncomfortable. De'Aaron's a guy that I think is really one of those elite players at going and getting his. And whether that's even creating an advantage and then creating or setting up somebody else to take advantage of that. So I do think it's going to come down to one of the biggest things is who plays better, specifically between De'Aaron Fox and De'Aaron Fox and Steph Curry, and you can throw Domantas Sabonis, Klay Thompson in there as well.
Coming up next, one more segment with the Sactown Sports Kings insiders. The Kings win if ... And there's a guy that we have not mentioned on the Warriors that could burn the Kings tonight. Who is it? We'll discuss. Stiles and Watkins, Sactown Sports.
Did you miss any part of our live local shows? Don't worry, you never have to miss them again. Check out SactownSports.com and search our podcast page and play our shows when you want. The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Plus, other podcasts like Return of the Empire, Return of the Roar, the Stingers Up podcast, and Golf to Go with Frank LaRosa.
They're all available right now on SactownSports.com.
Jiffy Lube has a special promotion going on right now. Simply purchase a Pennzoil Platinum full synthetic oil change at Jiffy Lube and receive a $25 e-gift card from popular brands for food, gas, and more. It's that easy. Simply purchase a Pennzoil Platinum full synthetic oil change and receive a $25 e-gift card. So basically, going to Jiffy Lube can get you a free lunch or a pizza for dinner. That's what we call added value for the consumer. That's why Jiffy Lube is #1 in the greater Sacramento area for oil changes. Visit jiffylube.com for more details and valuable coupons today.
Power Business Technology is proud to be 100% independent, locally owned, and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a 2022 Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729 or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Sactown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
One more segment with the guys. Sactown Sports Kings insiders, Brenden Nunez and Frankie Cardicelli. Be sure to catch them on SactownSports.com. All of their content. They're going to be firing it out. Whether tonight's the last game or not, we hope it won't be, but they got you all summer long going into a very, very exciting offseason, but not time to talk about that yet, as the Kings can extend their season to the end of the week if they can get a win against the hot Warriors, if you let their fans tell it. Guys, there's a player on the Warriors before we get into the Kings win if ... And be sure 916-339-1140 text line, call line, Sac chat. Give us your answers as well, guys. There's a player who I have not mentioned and we have not mentioned.
Oh, I know it.
And he worries me because look, we've seen flashes. Basically, everybody's got a HB on their team, and I'm really hoping that Andrew Wiggins doesn't decide to have a great game tonight, because honestly, he is their X factor. The reason Kuminga has flourished is because Wiggins was nowhere to be found.
I mean, first of all, I looked at you, Brenden. Do you think it was Chris Paul?
I thought it was Chris Paul.
I thought it was Chris Paul.
I didn't think.
But I think the fact that there's about 3 here says something.
Yeah.
You're talking about Moses Moody. Even.
Okay, well, he had a big game.
That's what I'm saying.
No, I think Wiggins for sure, though, does have that. I mean, again, he's a first overall pick. He's been a big scorer before. He obviously comes up sometimes to the Warriors. I think that he's been kind of in a funk since that 2022 NBA Finals. He hasn't really been the same. Yeah. But he's kind of like, again, I don't want to say he's on the Harrison Barnes level here of like kind of disappearing and showing up, but I guess you're right. He's spot on. He is a guy that can go out there and get you 25 plus, or a guy that can go out there and get you 7 on bad shooting percentages. So I think that if the Kings are going to take a chance, like Malik said, and just kind of contain Klay and Steph and make sure no one else gets hot, he's probably next in line on my list as far as guys you don't want to get on heater, because I can't remember what game it was last year, but I think he did have a big game against Sacramento.
I think he was the most annoying player from the Kings' perspective
timely.
last year. Very timely.
Timely shots.
Always hit a shot to stop a run, always would get to the free throw line, and he was like the guy who was just kind of their fixer. Like if they had cold possessions where they couldn't get things going, it just felt like they would ISO Wiggins. He would hit some stupid turnaround, and it's like, he was the guy. Yeah, there was like 14 points, and he would just like you said, just very, very timely last year.
It was timely in the way that he would do it. It wouldn't be like on set open threes. It
No.
would be attacking the paint and scoring over like extended like defensive possessions by Keegan Murray or Harrison Barnes. He was scoring over people. So I think that's a good call. I also think that Chris Paul, though, because just thinking out loud, a guy who can get into the paint, he knocks in those mid-range shots like they're absolutely automatic. And the fact that those Steph-less minutes now are completely different from this year versus last year. Last year, Dante DiVincenzo had a couple of good moments, but he wasn't really an X factor for the Warriors in that playoff series. Chris Paul, the point god, a little different. If he has one good game against the Kings, it could obviously impact the outcome.
Well, go ahead.
I was just going to say Chris Paul, I was looking here. Have the Kings faced, because didn't he get injured against the Kings? And then
played him once.
The very first game of the year, he was starting. It was second game of the year, the first time these teams matched up. He was still starting, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I can find if he is facing this year real quick.
Yeah, I just, the thing that concerns me a lot about CP3 is just, I just think about how smart of a player he is. And, we don't know how deep the Kings are going to go tonight, but if it's, with how just bruised the Kings are, like if CP's out there and he's going against Chris Duarte and more of like the Kings bench unit, I think he's way too smart, especially in a one-game playoff situation. He's going to dice them apart. Like he's just going to use his mental to manipulate things. And especially like you said, I mean, he's only trying to win minutes, really. He's really out there to keep the ship afloat when Steph's not out there. He can game plan a 3-4 minute stretch where it can look like a masterclass. And this is really what they brought CP in for. Of course, throughout the regular season, you can expect one thing, but he's 39 years old or whatever. Like you're not realistically expecting him to affect your team over 82 games. These games right here is exactly why Chris Paul is on this team.
One game. And his numbers, they scare me for a reason. And I'll just go ahead and throw them out there. But 5 points per game, 2 rebounds, 6.7 assists. That's over 3 games on 36% shooting from the field, 14 from 3. That scares me a little bit just because the fact that, of course, he would bounce back or break out of that, head-to-head slump tonight. But I think the big guys on Golden State are more likely to hurt the Kings than someone like Chris Paul. But I think that winning those Steph Curry minutes, which was a huge talking point last year, winning those Steph Curry minutes, I think you tracked them every game, Brenden, and they did not do enough to take advantage of those. And if Chris Paul is going to be a difference maker, that could hurt.
Did you say 14? Was that 14%?
1-4 from 3.
See, man,
we're talking in the 3 Kings games, right?
3 Kings games, and that's 22 minutes per game. So that's a decent amount of run. But
yeah,
I mean, again, like Chris said, this is not 2014's Chris Paul. This is a little different, but a guy that can for sure hurt you in other ways, whether it's playmaking or making the right pass, or again, that mid-range has been automatic for his entire career, and we've seen it in a couple of games against the Kings this year. So if it's going to be him or Kuminga or Pods or Wiggins, Chris Paul probably at the bottom of that list, but still a guy that can hurt you.
Someone that you got to be excited isn't playing tonight. He kind of killed the Kings the couple times that the Kings played the Warriors. Dario Saric. I mean, he balled out against the Kings and really nobody else, and that whole thing didn't work out. So at least you don't have to worry about him
or GP2
and GP2 also went out, I believe, during the in-season tournament.
Right,
it was definitely in Sacramento.
I think Sarge is active.
Yeah, he
just hasn't been playing.
Oh, he's out. He's out of the rotation. Yeah, you're right. He hasn't played in a while. But again, how like the gamesmanship and how surprised would you be if Steve Kerr did throw out Kevon Looney and Sarge in like stretch minutes tonight if things aren't going their way?
I think that's a good sign for the Kings. If that happens, like if the Warriors
disrupting
go
their flow,
to me the Warriors are the ones that are driving the boat in this game. Like if they're gonna start to do things that they haven't done before, like I feel like the Warriors just need to stay course. The Kings are the ones who need to be going crazy, really.
Who's gonna step up? Not let's go back and change things up.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go around the round table. The Kings win tonight if ... Brenden Nunez.
I got 2 things. 2 possibilities. If Davion and Keon combine for 6 or more made threes, the Kings will win the game. Or if the Kings can score 20 points off turnovers. It's been the Warriors' weakness for as long as they've been an elite team.
Yep.
And it still exists as a weakness. Steph Curry is prone to that. And you can't have them scoring more points off your turnovers on less opportunities because they knock down transition threes. They're very good at that. but the Kings need to capitalize on those Warriors turnovers. So Davion or Keon, 6 made threes combined, or 20 points off turnovers. It's a Kings win.
I like that.
Is it me?
It's you, Frankie.
It's my turn. I'm looking at the 40% mark for the Warriors from three. You guys might have already talked about this earlier if you did read some things I put out, but the Warriors this season have been pretty unbeatable. When they shoot 40% from three, they're 28-4. That's an 87% winning percentage. But in 4 of those losses, the Kings have beat them twice. So if the Kings can keep them under 40%, I'm feeling pretty good about it. And this is, again, not really factoring the Kings 3-point shooting. I'm going to go ahead and say my other take would be the Kings shooting over 35% this year. The Kings have been a much better team when shooting over 35%. Their winning percentage is .707 when they shoot over 35%. But we all remember what happened last year. The Kings were a 30% team in the playoffs. That was one of the reasons why I get so frustrated when people bring up the Sabonis narrative. It's like, was he not at the top of his game? Absolutely. He was not very good in that series. But the Kings 3-point shooting was abysmal in that round. They were really hovering around 28, 29% for most of that series until a couple of garbage time threes in game 7 up that percentage to 30. So 3-point game is going to be huge tonight. So I'm looking at that for both sides.
There you go. You will get the answer from Chris and myself when we return. Frankie, Brenden, thank you for all the work. We're not saying goodbye because it's not goodbye. The Kings are going to get it done. But thank you for the work that you've been doing throughout the regular season. Be sure to follow them on social media. Brenden Nunez, Frankie Cardicelli. Be sure to say what's up to them if you see them in the streets. Stiles Watkins, Sactown Sports.
A year ago, Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors ended the Sacramento Kings season. Tuesday, the Sacramento Kings have a chance at revenge in the play-in game. Join Sactown Sports for complete coverage on air and online with guests, previews, and predictions for the win-or-go-home Northern California battle. Kings and Warriors, Tuesday at 7 on your home of the Kings. Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com.
It's Coach Doug Christie here to remind you, if you want a deal that's a slam dunk, go see the winning team at Folsom Lake Ford. Folsom Lake Ford is your truck headquarters with all your American-made favorites, like America's best-selling F-Series, F-150s, and Super Duties, or spacious new Explorers and Expeditions, plus a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports, all in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford. In the Folsom Auto Mall, you can buy any new Ford with zero down on approved credit, save big with low interest finance rates, and Folsom Lake Ford always pays top dollar for your trade. Check out the huge selection of inventory online at FolsomLakeFord.com or stop by the dealership to see their most recent arrivals. Looking for something special? Give them a call and tell them Doug Christie sent you. They'll help you out. Hurry to Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, your trusted dealer, my trusted dealer for over 35 years and counting.
It's a myth to think you don't play golf well enough to get fitted for golf clubs. The professionals at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio would argue that playing the game with golf clubs properly fitted to your body and swing characteristics is the best way to improve your game and have more fun on the golf course. With a professional staff of fitters, all the major brands of equipment, and cutting-edge technology featuring TrackMan, the indoor-outdoor Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio is worth a look. See for yourself, Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway. Schedule your fitting at 916-808-2531, 808-2531.
At Ashton & Price, we get injury victims to yes. Experience, yes. Ashton & Price has been around for over 25 years. No more insurance companies? Yes. Our clients focus on getting better, and we handle all the rest. Results? Yes. We've collected over $100 million for injury victims. No fee until we win? Yes. Our clients pay nothing until we win. Ashton & Price, the best at getting to yes. Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for American Energy Heating and Air with a question. Have you recently had a technician diagnose your HVAC system and you were a bit surprised at how much it cost? Or did something seem off about their quote? Because at American Energy, they take pride in giving you honest, straightforward solutions to get that system up and running. Have their qualified technicians come out and give you a free second opinion. It's free. You got nothing to lose but some dollars off of that original quote. They're making the uncomfortable comfortable. They've been doing it since 1981, serving the greater Sacramento area. A+ with the Better Business Bureau. That's why they keep having customers coming back for more and more and more. You can call them and set that appointment at 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T level is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They're in Midtown in the Cal Sutter Medical Building and also offer telemedicine appointments. Plus, with free shipping directly to you, Revive takes the hassle out of treating low T and ED. Schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation today. Call Revive Men's Health at 916-365-4566. That's 916-365-4566 or visit revivemenshealth.com.
All guests come to you from the Folsom Lake Honda hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Sacramento has a new tag team in the midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Thank you again to Brenden Nunez and Frankie Cardicelli. Chris, we're going to break down these other play-in games, but what are your thoughts on the Kings? They win tonight if... ...
I definitely like Brendan's nugget of the points off turnovers. I think that's a good one for sure. I think the big thing that they have to do is, force turnovers for sure, but you have to capitalize on open looks. Like, to me, it's the open threes that have really killed this team. Like you were talking about earlier, it's you could argue it's getting too deep in their heads. You say you feel like they can feel how important that three is going to be. Playing loose and just hitting open looks. Like, it's one thing if you can't hit contested jumpers. It's one thing if Golden State's playing tough defense, but you're going to need not a bit of luck on your side, but you're going to need, they say the ball bounces your way. Their Kings are going to need those open looks to go in where, typically, it'll average out to 40%. The Kings might need to hit more than your average open looks tonight and just everything's got to work in their favor. They have to win the offensive rebounding battle for sure. That's another big one is Sabonis not getting dominated on the offensive glass like he did last year to Kevon Looney. I think those are probably my two biggest things is hitting open looks and just watching the glass.
Got this here from Willsie's stats and the bench points. The Warriors are third in bench points at 42.6.
Wow.
And the Kings are 12th at 35.7. Okay. If I'm trying to put a positive spin on this, I would say this. The Warriors have tinkered so much with that lineup and rotation throughout the season, even more than Mike Brown has with the Kings. Going into this first game, there might be too many mouths to feed, and who knows? I know it's just one game and you're just going to ride with who's hot, but you got to make, at one point, Wiggins was coming off the bench. At one point, Klay Thompson was coming off the bench. Now you have Kuminga, who now that Wiggins is playing better, how many minutes is Kuminga going to get?
Clay's got to get his, right?
Clay's got to get his
20 plus.
Podziemski goes from being the golden boy. Now he's not playing. Now you're starting Trace Jackson Davis and Looney's not playing. It could be and I don't want to say an embarrassment of riches when you're the 10 seed, but they've tinkered so much. They might outthink themselves tonight. And, I need Kuminga to get going, or I need Wiggins to get going, whoever. It might be too many guys they need to play for any CP3. I didn't even say CP3. It might be too many guys for one specific person to get going. And they just give up. They just don't play Moses Moody. So that's one thing I can try to flip positively.
No, and I feel like it's a lot of factoring in. A lot of people are just kind of putting in Sharpie. Steph is going to have a good game. Well, what if he just has a norm? What if he's 9 of 21 from the field? It feels like everything makes sense for Golden State if Steph is that guy, which of course we personally saw Game 7. He can absolutely be that guy. But if Steph is a bit normal, and to your point, they have to start spreading the ball around a bit. It's not, hey, Steph is going to carry us most of the way and everybody just kind of needs to put the hammer to the nail for this thing to be over. Well, what if they need everybody to contribute? Like we're talking about how the Kings need Davion Mitchell, need Trey Lyles. Well, what if all of a sudden it comes to, like Steph is definitely doing his part and keeping us in it, but we need Brandon Podziemski to hit a three. We need Andrew Wiggins to be the shot maker that he was last year. Do things start getting tight? And to your point, like, do they start is it okay? Podziemski hasn't had his chance. Okay, maybe it's a Kuminga night. Like, how does that kind of how do they function with the, I don't know how many games they have all played, to your point, with this complete core. Like, how many games have they played where two of these guys are out or one of these guys are out? I don't know if they have the rhythm or the flow that we quite just kind of assume they have, because they are the Warriors who have been this well-oiled machine for so long. GP2 is playing heavy minutes for him. That's just a guy that is completely gone. So, yes, these guys have been together, Steph, Dre, and Clay, for so long. Wiggins has definitely been there for a good portion of it too, but there still is a lot of, I wouldn't say uncertainty, but it's things that aren't guaranteed that you might assume from a Warrior team just come with it.
Again, that is why you are in the 10 seed.
Yep. And that's why they play the games, man.
Exactly. It is not just a foregone conclusion that these guys are going to come out rolling. Look, maybe they do.
Maybe they do.
But there's also a chance that they don't. And, the idea of these guys just, oh man, they've been hot to try. They haven't been that hot, because if they were that hot, they wouldn't be the 10 seed, because they had an opportunity to get out of the 10 seed, and they got hit by the Pelicans as well. This is from Wisefool 114 on the text line. Afternoon, boys. Hope all is good with y'all. If the Kings lose tonight, would y'all consider this to be a bad year? Think about it. The boys broke a 16-year drought last year, only for them to miss the playoffs this year. Well, they haven't missed yet, Wisefool. They have not missed yet. Anyway, hope y'all have a great day. Go Kings. Yeah, we'll probably break that down more once the season is over, whenever that is. As Chris and I detailed earlier in the show, I don't know. There's so much riding on this game, and maybe it doesn't change my thought process. Maybe it does, but I got to see it happen. I got to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I probably will say, like, I'm not going to feel great about the season overall. It'd be tough to try and make the argument for it being successful or a good year. But yeah, if they put together a really good effort tonight, a really strong effort that leaves us proud and feeling like, okay, like they did about as much as they could and ultimately just didn't have the weapons, maybe that softens the blow a bit. I think it would be tough to try and make the argument that it's a good year if they don't win. But, if you obviously don't make the playoffs after all that was made of this season coming into it, I mean, I think it's definitely fair to classify it as a bad year.
Yeah, and
we'll talk about it.
Yeah, there can be reasons why, and we'll
and there will be good within the bad year. Just because it's a bad year in total doesn't mean there's not positives to take from it.
There you go. Breaking down the other play-in games and giving our predictions. Lakers at Pelicans, Chris. I think I said it earlier in the show. I think the Pelicans are going to take care of business. I know it's LeBron, but I mean, the Pelicans, they just got embarrassed.
Yeah, straight up embarrassed in that game 82. I think the Lakers have a really good shot at it. I mean, we've seen the Pelicans be dominant, obviously, here against Sacramento. They're more than capable. They have the talent. They have more than enough talent, honestly. You could argue that with the talent they have, they're grossly underachieving. I don't know if many teams have as deep of a bench as the Pelicans have, but they just haven't been able to put it together. I think they can for one game. I would lean towards the Pelicans, but man, I know you wouldn't be surprised if the Lakers end up winning that game and they go to the line 30 plus times. And, LeBron and AD, like you said, LeBron can kind of get this mini victory. He can get up for a game and have a 30, 10 and 10 kind of night, even at age 38 or 39, whatever he's at nowadays. That's the fear if you're New Orleans, is honestly just LeBron has to go LeBron mode for the Lakers to win. That's just not that crazy of a situation.
As far as the Lakers are concerned, I don't even want to ask this question, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Sure.
With Laker fans and national media saying, oh, well, the Lakers should want to play the Nuggets now while they're the healthiest, or, oh, well, the Lakers should lose a game and then avoid the Nuggets. Are you giving the Lakers, and you said, they're underachieving. We discussed that. Are you giving the Lakers any chance if they do face the Nuggets? Is there any world where, hey, if they did end up just playing their best ball, you never know?
I don't think so. I think the Nuggets have enough talent to out-execute them. I think the Lakers have a decent shot against OKC.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the one where, you could see how AD is too much for Chet. I don't know how they're going to slow down Shea, but you slow down everybody else with the Lakers' size.
Well, Vanderbilt's going to be back soon.
Yeah,
honestly.
Vanderbilt will be back. You got Gabe Vincent back as well. I could see the Lakers beating the Thunder. The Nuggets, I would have to see it first. I just think Jokic is too good. We also saw that series last year, and the Nuggets swept them. It wasn't even like it was a competitive series. So I don't know how the Lakers, how you could say the Lakers have made up those 4 games in this one off season when they pretty much have, for the most part, the same guys coming back. So I would give them a slight advantage over OKC, but Denver, I think it's going to be more of the same.
All right, Heat at Sixers. I'm going Sixers.
Yeah, I got to go Sixers. It'll be interesting to see how Eric Spoelstra is going to game plan against Joel. I'm sure he's going to make it really difficult for him. But ultimately, I just think the Heat can't keep getting away with this. They cannot continue to sleepwalk through the regular season and then just turn it on in the playoffs. I'm not saying they're not going to make that 8 seed, but I cannot believe that the Heat are just going to rise from the ashes like they always seem to do and beat the Sixers. I'm not saying it's impossible. Man, I'm telling you.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
I really want the Heat to lose so we can stop hearing about. It's not good to be in the play-in. Yes. Can we stop trying to flip this thing around to say, oh, well, hey, the Heat did it.
Yeah.
Just enough. I need the Heat to lose so people stop victory lapping being in the play-in, depending on who you are, depending on who the team is. And last but not least, quickly, Hawks. At Bulls, I don't know if anybody cares.
No, nobody does care.
But I'm taking the Bulls, but who cares?
Same. Yeah.
And this is exactly where the Bulls were. The Bulls are just so bizarre.
So bad. They're just wasting everybody's time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is they're raising the pig for slaughter here. Whoever wins this game, probably going to get killed by either Miami or Philly. Doesn't really matter ultimately.
Yeah, and
there's so much, and there's a huge, this is the play-in where they probably shouldn't have the play-in because these two teams are so much worse than the two above them.
Those are two teams that got caught in between. Are we going to trade? Are we going to stand pat and they don't really deserve to be in the playoffs?
Yes.
But they have this play-in, so they get an extra game, but they are not doing anything in the postseason. Prop talk and a play-in dog segment when we return. Stiles Watkins, Sactown Sports.
They had never been in the playoffs in the same season, let alone play one another in a playoff series. That all changed last year in a first-round 7-game classic. Now, the rivalry continues Tuesday night in the 9 versus 10 play-in game. Winner moves on, loser goes home. Kings, Warriors, Tuesday night at 7 on your home of the Kings, Sactown Sports.
Hey there, wanted to take a moment of your time so I could talk to you about insecurity. I could talk to you about confidence. I could talk to you about girth. Yeah, what? Girth? Yeah, okay. Let me tell you about the Upsize Clinic at UpsizeMatters.com. My good friend, Dr. Jack, and his friend, Dr. Pash in San Francisco have a safe, effective, long-lasting doctor-performed procedure. It's non-surgical, virtually pain-free. Now listen, girth is consistently ranked as the most important attribute. What Dr. Jack and Dr. Pash are offering is a free consultation. The procedure can be done on the same day as your consultation and get that confidence back. Reset in the bedroom with your partner. Financing is available. It's very private. It's very discreet. Available in Roseville with Dr. Jack and San Francisco with Dr. Pash at UpsizeMatters.com. That's UpsizeMatters.com.
Some days, my active psoriatic arthritis makes it hard to get in the game. Now, the ball is in my court, thanks to treating my skin and joints with Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults.
Nothing is everything.
Skyrizi helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Seems like all this artificial intelligence stuff stirs up the age-old debate of man versus machine. Hi, it's Dan from the Good Feet store, and let me ask you, would you let a robot cut your hair? Would you rely on an app to teach a kid to ride a two-wheeler? Let's face it, some things require the human touch. People come to us seeking a solution to foot, leg, and back pain after trying all kinds of things recommended by in-store machines or website blurbs. An impersonal, generic approach to solving a problem that's unique to you. No wonder they usually don't work. At the Good Feet store, you'll meet with an arch support specialist who will take the time to learn about your needs, your feet, your lifestyle, and then fit you from over 300 models and sizes of arch supports, designed for pain relief, better balance, and more comfort. See what we can do for you with a free fitting. Just stop in or schedule an appointment. With over 200 stores, there's likely one near you. Find yours at goodfeet.com.
Everybody needs Good Feet.
Contact Tax Relief Helpers for details and restrictions. Attention anyone that owes money to the IRS. The IRS has restarted aggressive enforcement actions against taxpayers who owe back taxes that were temporarily suspended for COVID. If you owe $10,000 or more, you must hear this because now is the time to clear your IRS tax debt. A special toll-free number has been established so you can stop penalty fees, avoid liens, levies, and other hostile measures by the IRS. Call Tax Relief Helpers right now at 800-934-9217. Tax Relief Helpers will provide you with the maximum protection afforded by law.
I got behind on my taxes and owed $48,000. I didn't know what to do. I called and they got my bill lowered to just $3,500.
I owed $87,000 in taxes and it was scary. I got the amount I owed down to just $3,500. I saved $83,500.
If you owe money to the IRS, don't wait another day. Call 800-934-9217 right now before the IRS enforces liens, levies, and other aggressive measures. The call and consult are absolutely free. Call now. Call 800-934-9217. 800-934-9217. 800-934-9217.
Country in the Park is back May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Jay Cohen, Walker Hayes, and more. Tickets start at just $46. Country in the Park May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITPfest.com.
Brought to you by Tug Shed, New Dawn Treatment Centers, and Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers.
Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sactown Sports IMAX Pass by visiting SactownSports.com. Sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's films at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
Sacramento has a new tag team in the midday. It's Stiles and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
Before we get to prop talk and dog segment, a play-in prop talk and a play-in dog segment, Klay Thompson, who I think, Chris, we went back and forth a little bit off air about Klay Thompson and how not really worth the conversation about him coming to Sacramento based on numbers. And if you really want Malik Monk, there's just no way you would have both. So no real need to have that conversation. But there is a chance, and it sounds like based on some of the sources that I'm hearing, there is a good chance that Klay Thompson isn't in the Bay next season unless maybe they win the whole thing or something like that. But assuming it doesn't end in a parade in the Bay, it could be over for Klay. And this is what he had to say. Why do I keep rhyming? This is killing me here.
Intentional.
It really wasn't. But this is Klay Thompson on upcoming free agency and potentially his last game.
No, that's life, man. Like, can't let. I had so much success here. I'm not gonna let whatever the future happens make me salty about what I've been able to accomplish in a Warriors uniform. So I don't let that seep in at all.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there you have it. I mean, and that is kind of exactly what we heard Malik say as well. Essentially the same thing. I mean, of course, you're not really thinking about it in the moment, but I'm sure it's something that crosses his mind every so often. And I definitely think that when they think long term about what they're trying to accomplish, even just getting out of the play-in this year, I'm sure Clay thinks this could possibly be our last run here. Let's try and make it a good one. So even though he says all the right things, I'm sure that it at least crosses his mind of the potential of this being a last dance. And, with that comes, how do you want this thing to end? Usually these dynasties, you're the last person to know, right? You're the last person to know that it's over because you're always trying to hold on for that hope that there's one more year left of Magic.
Right.
The reality is that Magic probably left the door in 2022 when you did earn that title, but that was kind of the one that not got away, but that was kind of your comeback. And I don't think there's going to be another redemption arc here for Golden State. So as much as Clay says he doesn't think about it, all that stuff, I definitely think they consider, if this is going to be the last time, how do we want it to end?
Yeah.
And of course they don't want it to end in a 9-10 play-in, but the thing is, it always ends sooner than you think it is.
Right. You should have ended it in 2022.
Yeah.
Because you finish with 4. There's that's nothing to sneeze at.
Definitely not.
If you're trying to chase Jordan at 6, it's just not going to happen. Or even Kobe at 5. It's possible, but I mean, the reality is they had so many chips on their shoulder in 2022.
Yeah.
You couldn't fake it. It was real. Steph Curry didn't have a Finals MVP. Okay, they said he was done. Clay was coming off both of those surgeries. They said he was done. They said that they were all cooked, and they came back and they proved that they weren't. You can't manufacture the feeling that they had in 2022.
Sure.
They went around parading the fact that they had nothing else to prove. So it's hard to prove something when deep down in your subconscious, you don't have anything to prove.
Sure.
It's a different I think I am not comparing Steph to Kevin Durant and who we spoke with Suns Media, but I do think it's similar in that was the final box to tick, and they rode for Steph, and they caught lightning in a bottle with Jordan Poole, and then they shipped him off, and they caught lightning in a bottle with Andrew Wiggins, who never played that well before in his career and hasn't played that well since.
Yep.
And that's it. That's it. It honestly, the stars aligned for them that season in 2022. They're going into 2023, which is when I was there covering the team. You socked Jordan Poole in the face, and then you paid him. The reality was they knew going into that next season, if they hadn't moved off of Jordan Poole, they could not pay 3 guards that type of money.
Right.
So if the punch hadn't happened and Jordan Poole balled out again, at that time, they were going to have to make a decision between Clay and Jordan Poole.
Right.
That punch and Jordan Poole playing poorly allowed the Warriors to just say, well, I guess we're just going to stay with Clay.
Right.
That's what it was. So there was no way that they were going to be able to manufacture the chip on their shoulder that they had in 2022. And that's essentially where they're at now.
Yep. And the Kings got the chip on their shoulder.
The Kings got the chip on their shoulder. So. And they all have different chips on their shoulders now if you're the Warriors, because Steph wants number 5, but that big 3, unless they do it this season and anything's possible, they're not doing it unless they go out and somehow they're not doing it with those 3 being the 3 best players. I don't even know if Clay is one of their 3 best players right now.
Yeah, I mean, if you factor in consistency, definitely. I mean, when he's on, especially here recently, absolutely. But if you can't rely on him, I don't know what it's going to be. And that's what's going to be so interesting about tonight. Like, tonight is a game where, this should be no sweat. I mean, there's game 7 Clay, right? Like, these guys come up in these big moments time after time throughout their run. This would be a very, very interesting sign if they can't get up for this game. If there is no magic left to squeeze out of the tube, like, this could be very well the end of this era, of this dynasty, but it could also leave on a pretty sour note. Like this, again, you don't want it to be ending with a loss in a 9-10 play-in game
to the Kings,
where you can't even beat the Kings. So the Kings, if you just try and relish in playing spoiler. I know Steph talks all the time about how he loves to play on road arenas to silence the crowd. Well, the Kings have to try and keep that same mentality for trying to silence this Warriors team, because again, they're out here thinking, oh, how do we get onto the play-in? How do we already think about playing OKC in the first round? Kings need to bring that energy and just truly relish in the fact that you have an opportunity to do something that's historically relevant, and that's possibly bring down the end of this dynasty.
All right, play-in, prop talk, then dog segment. Let's get it. I'll lead off, as I like to do from time to time. And I'm going to go with, there's some good ones today. I think I'm going to and you and Brenden actually had me tripping a little bit during the break, but I think I'm going to stick with it. And they got Davion Mitchell at 7.5 points.
Yeah. That feels like that's, if the Kings are going to win, that has to happen.
Right. If the Kings are going to win, Davion's probably going to need to score more than that. So I'm going to go with Davion Mitchell, 7.5 points.
I like it. I like it a lot. Davion, 7.5 points, of course, like just in general. Yeah, him hitting shots is something that has to happen if the Kings are going to win. So that's a really good number there. I see Davion 1.5 threes. That's also kind of a similar mindset. But I'm gonna kind of piggyback a bit off of yours, and I'm gonna look to the bench and look at another low point total, 6.5 points for Trey.
Oh, you guys are absolutely killing me. Both of my.
That's hilarious.
I can pivot.
No.
I'm gonna take Stiles with 6.5 points, which again, just if the Kings are gonna win today, one of these two has to hit, if not both. I feel like you need bench production. You talked about the Warriors being third in the NBA in bench production. The Kings cannot allow that number to be incredibly one-sided. They've got to do their part coming off the bench. And, hit a couple threes, make the Warriors respect the Kings bench. Simone, I'm sorry.
I have another one. You guys got me really hot back here. Go ahead and give me Harrison Barnes, though. The best.
Love it.
I'm feeling good about it.
He bought it. What was it? 39?
Yes, he had
39
last
Okay,
game.
last. It's like, that's not what.
What number are you looking for?
That's 13.5, and give me the over.
Gotcha.
There you go. All right. Get them in. Sack chat, text line, call line, 916-339-1140. Dog segment. Let's get it.
This one should be to me, this is so simple. Your dog has to be your best player. De'Aaron Fox, you've got to be a dog tonight. I'm talking 35, something near there. I think De'Aaron's got to be great. He's got to try and match the greatness of Steph Curry, even if it's just for one night. You've got to be on your ones. And if this thing does come down to the final 5 minutes, De'Aaron, I know you got us here. I know, but we cannot have more of what we've seen here recently.
No.
Trust your teammates. Move the ball around. If the ball ends up back in your hand, absolutely we want you taking the shot. But don't settle. Don't let the Warriors off the hook. De'Aaron Fox, please, we need a dog tonight.
Simone?
Give me Kiki, please.
Oh, yes. Do you love me?
Bite ankles tonight. Be aggressive. Let's go.
Let's go. Well, I'm torn. I think we can just say this way that Sabonis is the pick. That's a collective pick. We need him to ball out.
Yes.
So I'm going with somebody that also needs a little bit of redemption from that playoff series. You don't know about that young bull? That young bull, Keegan Murray? You think you got all the young talent Warriors with Kuminga? Well, the Kings got a guy too. His name is Keegan Murray. Okay?
A Keegan Murray flurry tonight, please.
Top sophomore in the game.
Forget that Curry.
Don't get it twisted. Thank you for listening to Stiles and Watkins.
Optimism.
The Drive Guys are up next. And this is from Draper. Kings fans, the Drive Guys will be broadcasting live from Doco today, 2 to 5:30. Go see our guys. Jay will be taking care of it behind the glass as well. Whitey Gleason, Kyle Draper, thank you for listening to Stiles and Watkins. Secure the bag. Light the Warriors beam.
Light it.
Thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there.
Covenant House helped me break the cycle of homelessness in my family. They gave me the love that I needed.
Over 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed tonight. When youth who are